Welcome, everybody. It is 6:31, and so we will call our meeting to order for our first official joint calendar and business meeting. I am Jonathan Davis, the VP1. I am stepping in last minute for our president, Katina Rogers, who had an emergency that she took care of. So while we wait for the remaining council members to get settled, if we could have the interpretation lines introduce themselves. If we could please start with the Mandarin line.
Excuse me, please. This is Molly Gordy, Spanish interpreter. We need to be admitted to the telephone lines or we cannot interpret.
Okay, thank you. Shanice will do that right now.
Thank you.
Yes, and this is the interpreter QA. I believe the same is happening with the Bengali and the Mandarin line as well.
Okay.
Yes.
She's taking care of it. Let's give it 1 minute and then let us know when you are good and then we'll do our introductions.
Hola, Molly, ¿te puedo escuchar? ¿Me escuchas bien?
Sí.
Ok, perfecto. Yo empiezo ahora a las 6:30, cambiamos a las 6:45.
Bianca, you're currently unmuted in the
Thank you, Jimmy.
Zoom. Sure. All right, so it seems that Spanish has been opened. Whenever Mandarin and Bengali lines have opened as well, if you can please let us know. Okay, Bangla line is good. And
Mandarin
yes,
is good as well. Thank you.
perfect. All right, so we can begin with the language line announcements. So the meeting can begin. Again, you may proceed, Jonathan. All right, so let's just go ahead and begin with the language line announcements. Can Spanish begin?
Muy buenas tardes. Para interpretación en español, llamen al número de teléfono 347-966-4114 y entren el código 403-690-146, símbolo numeral. Repito, para interpretación en español, por favor llamen al número de teléfono 347-966-4114 y van a entrar el código 403-690-146, símbolo numeral. Le pedimos que por favor silencie el micrófono de su teléfono al entrar a la línea de interpretación. Gracias. Spanish announcement complete.
Very well. So we shall continue with the Bengali interpreters. Please proceed with the language announcement.
Thank you. The following message will be for Bangla participants. শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আপনারা যারা আজকে অনুষ্ঠানটি বাংলায় শুনতে চান সেক্ষেত্রে আপনাদের ফোন থেকে ডায়াল করবেন 347-966-4114। আমি আবার বলছি, ফোন নাম্বারটি হবে 347-966-4114 এবং কনফারেন্স আইডি দিবেন 312-803-640#। কনফারেন্স আইডি আবার বলছি 312-803-640#। আপনাদের কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকলে আমাদেরকে ফোন লাইনে প্রশ্নটি করতে পারবেন। অবশ্যই সবসময় মিউট করে রাখবেন। ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ। বাংলা অ্যানাউন্সমেন্ট ইজ কমপ্লিট।
Thank you so much. And if our Bengali or Bangla team could also paste the information in the chat box, will be greatly appreciated. And to finish, let us have the Mandarin announcement, please.
Here's the Mandarin announcement. 那大家晚上好，今天呢，我们就会有这个普通话的翻译服务的。那如果大家有需要的话，就可以拨打这个热线，热线号是347-966-4114。那打通之后就可以输入会议的 ID 号是226-072-047#。那再重复，今天晚上呢，我们就会有这个普通话的翻译服务，大家有需要的话就可以拨打这个热线，热线号是347-966-4114。那打通之后就可以输入会议的 ID 号是226-072-047#。Mandarin announcement complete.
Thank you so very much, Jonathan. You can proceed, and all of the information for anyone that needs interpretation is currently pasted in the chat. Good luck.
Thank you so much. We'll now do our public comment protocol. Kim?
Good evening. Tonight's in-person meeting will include a public comment period at the end of the meeting. When you comment, please comment on the topics Respect the privacy of others, and please do not include names of children or staff. Guests who make inappropriate comments will be removed from the meeting. During the public comment period, those attending virtually may raise their hand to comment or indicate in the chat that they would like to speak. Speakers will be called on one at a time and will be allowed 1 minute each for comment. We will hear as many speakers as the time allows. If you have a question outside this comment period, please signal it by raising your hand or writing it in the chat. If time permits, we will respond to these additional questions that arise at other times. It is possible that not every question will be given time, in which case we will encourage you to write to the CEC at cec15@schools.nyc.gov. CEC members will also be given a comment period. Members will be called upon and are each permitted 1 2-minute comment or question.
Great, thank you so much, Kim.
You're welcome.
Kara, roll call.
Right, Councilmember Angelica Cesario,
Present.
Councilmember Jonathan Davis,
Present.
Councilmember Elton Dodson, Councilmember Ken Eby,
Present.
Councilmember Angelica Janjanandon,
Present.
Councilmember Basil Cremendall. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, perfect. Councilmember Bettina Rogers, excused. Councilmember Kim Wanless,
Present.
Councilmember Chin Shaju.
Yes.
Councilmember Kara Swirling Muller, present.
Okay, so we have quorum. So I am going to read Katina's president's reports. And Angelica, would you mind putting the links in? Because you were an awesome partner last time. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. There is a lot happening right now, and we're glad to be in a community tonight with other parents and school leaders. First, I'm so pleased to welcome a new member of CEC 15, Basil Cremendall. Yeah, okay. Basil has been appointed by Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso to serve on the council. He has 2 kids at PS 130 in pre-K and 2nd grade. He co-chairs the Health and Wellness Committee of PS 130's PTA and has organized a committee of teachers and parent leaders who are exploring the implementation of a farm to school program. Welcome, Basil. Since we last met, a new mayor has been elected to New York City. We don't know yet what may change with New York City public schools under a new mayoral administration, but it's a good moment for school leaders and families to advocate for what is important to us. We hope you will join us on December 1st at 6:30 p.m. at Brooklyn High School of the Arts for a town hall with Chancellor Aviles Ramos, where I'm sure some of these questions will be addressed. Along the same lines, we invite you to share your priorities and questions with us in advance of the meeting. While the session is only an hour and not every question will be answered, the forum also helps us as a council to know the community's priorities. And Angelica Janjanandon is going to put into the chat, already has done it, I think.
I did it.
Oh, Kim,
Kim had
Kim,
it.
you are so
Read it
fast, Kim. So there's a link to a form here. So Kim, I don't think you added that link yet. So there's a
Okay.
link to a Google form that you can fill out. And that form is translated. It's in English, Spanish, Mandarin, and Bangla to let us know your priorities. And the deadline to submit those so we can look at all of the responses is next Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, as the town hall is the following Monday.
Okay.
On another note, we are deeply concerned about the increasing and multiple vulnerabilities that families in our community are experiencing. Over the past several weeks, ICE agents have been seen multiple times in Sunset Park. At least one of these occasions appeared to target a school that was hosting a community after-school program. This is deeply alarming. Several of our members are connected with rapid response groups, and we will be doing all we can to support the ongoing organizing work happening on the ground. This is combined with an increase in food insecurity following the extended government shutdown. While New York State has begun to issue full November SNAP benefits to eligible households, we know that many in our community are experiencing hunger as we approach the holiday season. Part of our meeting today will focus on what our school communities are doing to support families in need and how the CEC can help coordinate existing efforts. So if we can add to the chat, there's that link for foodhelp.nyc.gov. And that helps people find free food that is near them. Finally, I wanted to highlight an op-ed by Moses Gonzalez, a paraprofessional at Sunset Park High School. Gonzalez noted that when paraprofessionals don't earn enough, it is difficult to fill these essential positions that support our kids. Gonzalez urges the passing of legislation known as the Paraprofessional Respect Check that would recognize the pay inequities of the system and support paraprofessionals with an annual $10,000 payment. I'm grateful to Gonzalez for writing this piece and for advocating to fellow paraprofessionals across the city. And there is a link as well to what Mr. Gonzalez wrote. This is a combined calendar and business meeting, so it will be lengthy. The calendar portion will come first, and we will hear from Brooklyn North High Schools as well as the District 15 Superintendent, followed by a discussion on addressing food insecurity and on the development of new working groups. Our business portion will focus primarily on school facilities matters and preparation for upcoming events. While the public is welcome to stay, we understand if you need to head out at any time. That includes those on Zoom. We welcome you staying on, but we know that the meeting will go quite late. It's a lot and we totally get it. Thank you all again for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Yuet Chu and Dr. Is it Rochelle White? Okay, Rochelle White. To let us know what's happening with Brooklyn North High Schools.
Hi, good evening, District 15. How are you guys?
Well,
Hi, thank you for being here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan, for having me. It is my first time with District 15, seeing you guys. I used to be a deputy superintendent in Brooklyn North High Schools, and it's a pleasure for me to be in front of you today as the interim acting superintendent of Brooklyn North High Schools. We cover 7 districts, and 15 is at the heart of the 7 districts that we cover. So thank you guys for having me. Yuet is off to another district. She's not really, no hate here, but she loves you guys. But we wanted to make sure that there's representation across all districts. And sometimes some of the CEC meetings do happen to be on the same night. She did share with me, however, that she shared the deck. I'm wondering if you guys received the deck and we could get that started. Thank you so very much. I much appreciate that. So as you know, as shared, Yuet Chu is our EDSO, and we're so excited to have Corinne Mattis with us as well. Not on this call, but she's a part of our district, and we're so excited that she partners with our families to ensure that they get all up-to-date information and anything that they may need. I see that this is loading, but I will just go because I know exactly what should be coming up next. I just want to introduce myself to you. I've spent 27 years as an educator, started out in Brooklyn, migrated from Jamaica, West Indies, and came to America at 8 with my parents. Excited to be here. I was educated in Brooklyn schools, ended up going to a high school in Brooklyn. So it's just coming back to Brooklyn as an interim superintendent is beautiful, exciting, full circle. I worked under the leadership of Superintendent Janice Ross, who spent 32 years of her wonderful life giving to the students and staff in New York City public schools. So we're excited to wish her a wonderful retirement. And I look forward to continuing to serve the district the way that I do. We can advance to the next, please. And so we are excited about our mission and our vision. We make sure that we ensure that each student in our care, all 24,000 of our students, will be nurtured by loving and inclusive learning environments. We want to make sure that they engage in high quality instruction that really challenges them to engage in critical aspects of their learning. We also kind of looked at the way in which we approach our vision. And we've modified just a little bit. If you can see behind us, we have a brand new logo. And the logo has 3 commitments that we've assigned. One is centering children. We know that children is at the forefront of everything that we do. Every decision that's being made, we want to center our children. We also want to lead with love, knowing that if we don't love the communities that we serve, the students that we serve, the staff members who are there with them, the leaders who are a part of these schools, that we're going to have very miserable times throughout the time. So we want to make sure that we center love and we lead with love, and that we're innovating for tomorrow. I always tell folks, especially our educators, that if we're still teaching in spaces that resemble the way that we've been taught, then we're really not leading for the future and innovating, right? So we want to make sure that our students are prepared for the future ahead of them. And it's a future that they can't see right now, that we can't even see, but we're able to get them prepared to really be successful when they move forward. 20 years from now, the jobs that are here now, the careers that are here, will be changed. And we want to make sure that we're preparing our students to really navigate that new world. You can move to the next. And so, as I shared before, we have 25,000 students in our care. We're excited to share that across our district, we're celebrating a 90% attendance. Of course, we're not pleased, right? It's good, it's nice, but we really want to get up to 100%. 90% attendance means 10% of our kids aren't coming on a regular basis. And so we want to root that out, identify some of the root causes of that, and address that as soon as we can. Our chronic absenteeism is at a 27%. We definitely want to bring that down as well. Again, if students aren't coming into school each day, then it is problematic. They're missing a lot of instruction. They're missing social time with their friends as well. So we want to make sure we're building our students to have those skills that they need to really do well. We celebrate 42 of our high schools. We have 5 secondary schools, so making a total of 47 schools. Our students with disability number is 18%. L number is at 10%. We could advance to the next. Excited to share our graduation rate analysis over the years. We've been making a lot of improvements, as you can tell. So we celebrate our 92.5% graduation rate. Nice number, right? Close to 93. But it does mean that 7% of our kids did not graduate within the time frame. And so that's something that we want to pay attention to. We want to bolster the things that worked to make sure that our 93% of our students graduate. And we also want to look at the systems that didn't work for those 7% of our students. And so that's we are also looking at different student groups. We're also looking, thank you so much, Ms. Parker. We're looking at different student groups as well to monitor and support them. And so if you look at the bottom of the slide, you'll see that between 24 and 25, we've made some not major improvements, but improvements nonetheless. Major improvements with our ENL students though. 67% of our ENL students graduated in 2024, and it was increased last year to 84%. So we definitely want to celebrate that, lift that up, and continue to do the good work that shows improvement across the board. We could go to the next. In providing students with opportunities to become economically free as a part of our vision, we want to make sure that students are doing well on their standardized exams, these Regents exams. So these are the scores of our Regents exams over a 3-year period. And the dark blue is the 2025 scores. So this graph is showing you how many students passed that particular Regents, for example, English, with a 65% or better, right? And so last year we had 68%. Actually, we've had a steady across the board for English. And we're looking to bolster our Algebra 1, as you can tell. We struggle there a little bit, but in our Algebra 2, we're making some improvements as well. So 65% is passing, 80% guarantees that students are ready, college ready. So we really try to share with our students and our faculty to make sure that we're accessing those college ready scores and that we're not, pleased with just a 65. So we're working with that, aligning our supports and our practices, which you'll see moving forward. Let's go to the next slide. We want to offer as well advanced placement for all students across our district. And so these are the numbers of our students who have been engaged in advanced courses. The blue line shows you, the bar shows you the AP exams that students took. This is absent of one of our bigger schools in our district. This data does not include the specialized high schools that we have in our district. So to give you a sense of how our other students are doing, 8,466 students engaged in the AP exam and last year, and of that number, 3,371 students passed the AP exam with a 3 or better. 3 or better guarantees them college credit. So we encourage every student in Brooklyn North, and this is our commitment, that every student in Brooklyn North takes an AP course and that they do well on the AP exams so that when they graduate, they're graduating with college credits. We have graduated students who've earned up to 40 college credits, not only with AP, but with other early college programs that we've offered to them as well. When you talk about next step readiness, this is exactly what we're talking about. So we can move to the next slide. Again, our attendance is key, but attendance is directly related to instruction. And so if instruction is not engaging for our students, we're going to have attendance issues, right? And we put this chart up just for you guys to see the correlation between attendance and between instruction and engaging lessons. And so we have a graph there for you, a pie graph, that if you take a look, I don't know if you guys can see it closely, you can see that most of the incidents that we've documented so far across the district, these incidents are not just taking place in other places outside of classrooms, not just the hallways, not scanning, not staircases, but in the classrooms, right? And so we're being very transparent about what's happening and sharing this with you because we have an urgency to shift the practices and to shift the expectations in classrooms so that that's not the biggest space that things are happening, like incidents are happening, right? So again, directly correlated to our attendance, chronic absenteeism. So we want to bolster some engagement opportunities. And we've been asking students, what do you want your classroom experience to look like? And we've been collecting data to make sure that we're meeting their expectations. Because the way we learned in school cannot be the same way we're engaging students in 2025. And so we're continually providing professional development to support our teachers, to support our leaders, to shift those practices and engage more of our students. We can go to the next slide. Happy to announce that these are our wonderful schools in District 15. We're excited that two of our 7 schools in Brooklyn in District 15 have graduated 100% of their students. And so we're helping the other schools, the other 5, to really maximize those opportunities, right? So the next school in terms of the graduation rate was 91.7. So we really, really want to make sure that we share best practices when that occurs. In fact, I kind of stole one of the practices from the District 15 Superintendent Raphael. When we first met in September, actually, we met as in my first role as an interim acting superintendent. And that's one of the things with us and leadership. We always want to share best practices, right? And make sure that we're scaling across what works for you guys. And if it can work for us, we'll apply it. So I stole it. So one of the things that I stole is the way in which he develops the leaders in the district. And so he showcases and has best practice showcases for his principals who work in affinity groups. And our second principal meeting that's going to be happening next week is going to be one of showcasing. So schools got to choose their affinity groups, and their principal colleagues will be visiting their schools, looking at systems, looking at structures, sharing best practices, and being able to take that and scale it across. And so some of these schools in District 15 will be visited because they have best practices that are happening that works for their children. So we want to make sure that all of our students across Brooklyn North gets access to these systems, these wonderful and promising practices. We can move to the next slide. So I think I talked a little bit about our goals. It's making sure that students are college and career ready. We want to increase the enrollment of our students. We could go to the next slide. We also want to, for our District 2 goal, and all of our goals are aligned to the priority, the chancellor's priority. So our goal 2 is to make sure that students get learning experiences that are literacy-based, culturally responsive, and inclusive of standards-aligned curricula. And so we're looking to increase our ELA and our Algebra 1 scores by 3 to 7%. That is not an ambitious number, but it's a number that we're going to start with. We definitely want to make sure that we see double-digit increases across. Could go to the next. Our goal 3 is to also decrease high-level infractions and reduce repeat suspensions and so on, but again, aligned to instructional programs, making sure that instruction is really aligned to meeting the needs of our students. We could go to the next slide. Yes, I can wrap up in 2 minutes. Got you. Goal 4, and hello, Miss Kim Wandler. It's great to see you. So goal 4 is all about expanding family opportunities, involvement, and making sure that family is at the forefront of our supports and decisions. And so family, thank you guys so much for, taking the time out to be available, right? To be available to your school communities, to be available to CEC, to be present, to hold us accountable. So we definitely want to expand that opportunity for our families as well. We could go to the next slide. We could just rush through. So priorities 1, these are all the priorities. We could go to the next. I feel the violin going on. So we want to make sure that all students do read well. We're kickstarting on 100 books to read. Every student should be reading these 100 books before they graduate from a high school in Brooklyn North. We collaborated with teachers, researchers to identify that list, and we're going to share that list with you. So we also practice with the MTSS program, and we have literacy interventions. We're using corrective reading as the intervention. We use universal screeners and our map growth information as well. We can move to the next slide. What we have for Tier 1 literature is HMH for our Tier 1 instruction for ELA. These links are links that some parents have asked for at all of the CEC meetings that I've gone to since September. Parents have asked for access to what students are learning, the units that they're learning, and how they can be supportive of their children at home. So these are some links to the HMH literature curriculum. It's unit by unit, 9th through 12th grade. This is what students are engaged in their language arts classes. So you have access to them. You have sample access, family letters, everything. It's all there for you. And you can help to even have a conversation with your child. I understand you're reading about promising practices in Unit 2. How can I help you, right? So we want to give you the tools that you can support your children at home. And there's a QR code, you can scan it, you'll have access to the whole thing as well. You can go to the next. You can move to the next. And so our attendance, again, I think these are just repeated. We could just keep going. Algebra 1 is also a focus of ours. As you saw our numbers for Algebra 1, we're using IM. We're making sure that it's done with fidelity, illustrative math. We'll go to the next slide. Just let me know when the music is right there to take me off stage. All right.
I would say one more minute.
1 minute. Okay, thank you so much. So we want to continue to make sure that all of our students are all of our teachers across the district for Algebra 1 are implementing illustrative math with fidelity. You could keep going. And these are the links for those units as well. So if you have students in the 9th grade, Algebra 1, you have the links to all the units that they're ever going to study throughout the year and tips to help them as well. EDIA is an intervention program that we're using. So this is an AI-powered online platform. So for students, we know that in classes of 25 or more, we cannot just rely on a teacher to get to every student. So we have aligned with IDEA that provides an online platform for students to engage in math, and it's designed to help them throughout. We talk about global citizenship. We want to make sure all of our students are equipped to be global citizens, and so we encourage international trips for our students. This year, these are the trips that will be happening this year. Students are going to Japan and Spain and Costa Rica and England and Central Europe and Greece, and we're looking forward to students really expanding on their learning in these countries and becoming global citizens. And I talked a little bit about the advanced placement. I'm not going to go over that again, but this is just some more data for you. Some more pathways for our students. Microsoft credentialing is something that we're partnering with this year. Cisco networking is something we're partnering with this year. We want to see kids college and career ready. So we want to have career ready partners. And these are the college access for our students. Not only are our students going to be visiting a lot of SUNY schools this year, HBCUs, CUNY, and Long Island, we want to expose our kids to Ivy Leagues as well, right? That seems to be a little bit far reach, but we're not going to make that a far reach obstacle for our kids. So our first Princeton trip is happening in 2 weeks. We're taking students to see Princeton, to engage, and to really give them access to that so that they can see themselves in some of the Ivies that are here. So that is that. Thank you so much. Next time I'm here with you, I will be sure to go over some things, but you have the deck. You all will have access to this. These are just some wonderful things that have happened in the district with our Brooklyn North High Schools in District 15 and some resources for our parents and community members. Thank you for the opportunity, everyone.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on the new role.
Thank you so much.
Ask a question.
I think we're gonna move to the next, to Raphael's report, but if people have questions or comments for Dr. White, maybe we can compile them and send them, if that's okay. And then, just because our meeting is so overpacked today, and then maybe at the next meeting, we can try to leave a little bit more space for questions and comments. Is that okay, Dr.
I'm
White?
more than happy to accommodate however I can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And give our love to you, Ed.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Shanice, do you mind sharing that slide deck with like when we send out the summary, sharing that slide deck as well?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, Basil. I didn't get to meet you last month. I was at the meeting with Katina at Central Level. Just going through our slides. First one is really just the holidays that just passed, Veterans Day. Got to celebrate that myself personally. Hoping everyone has a special and happy Thanksgiving. World Kindness Day on November 13th, and I'm sure there's a day for everything, including Donut Day and so on and so forth. We'll talk about all those days, right? But for next month, just the Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, eventually a Happy New Year into the 2026 year. Hoping that everyone has a prosperous year and feel in any way, shape, or form that they can celebrate. And speaking of celebrations, we'll just go into the next slide. Well, okay, so Yes, I was awarded at the CSA, the Council for School Administrators, Veterans Recognition Ceremony. I was one of 2 members I was recognized. For those of you who don't know, I served in the United States Navy for 12 years as an air traffic controller certified. So yeah, I could have helped out, but no. It was a great experience that I feel has prepared me for this experience. But one would argue that these battles are a lot harder than those that I've had to fight in the military side, to be honest. With that being said, I thank for all the people who celebrated and honor those that have served our country. We had a
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
We had a parent coordinators, thank you. We had our parent coordinators, social workers, and guidance counselor, spend a day of learning and collaboration together. We're trying to get all 3 on the same page of what the needs are for our particular community. As expressed earlier in the president's address, we talk a lot about the food insecurities, the concerns with ICE and the fears across our city, change in mayor. There's a lot of things happening all at once. And so like, we wanted to bring these groups together to kind of figure out how are we supporting our community and our parents. And I'll talk to you about some of those things and address some of the concerns you had last month that I have some updates for you on as well. I want to talk a little bit about the academic screener updates. This is what we're seeing so far. First grade continues to show the lowest achievement in both reading and math. That's happening every year, and that's also happening across the city. Actually across states as well, because we do the Acadians and Map Growth. What we're seeing is that what the expectations are at the end of the kindergarten, the beginning of the year expectations seem to be a little bit beyond what we're expecting kids to be ready for. But then there's also learning loss. 2 months for a kindergartner not being exposed to instruction on a consistent basis, depending on where they are and whose household and what's going on in the summer, and they're not in summer school, they get a little bit more of a learning loss and it's harder to retain and remember some of the things. So you think about a child in kindergarten who remembers a story that happened, and then by the end of the summer, they probably don't remember that story again, or they might remember piece here and piece there and can't put it together. We've seen that a little bit of the extent of that's happening, but also for first grade, one of the things that we're seeing is that the kids are tested on fluency. So when they're doing their nonsense words or they're doing their CBC words, which they know, they're not doing it in the allotted time. Why is that significantly important? We would say, well, that's not a big deal, right? Because they at least know the word. But when you're trying to make meaning of what you're reading, fluency is what closes the gap of comprehension. So what we're seeing is that kids can do it, tap, right? Tap, right? They can do that, but if they're not doing that with more automaticity, then they struggle when it comes to comprehension later when they're reading longer sentences and passages. So that's what we're attributing to that. The good news is that what we've been seeing in our district is that we've been closing that gap because right now they're the lowest achievement now, but compared to last year at the same time, they're higher achieving. So what we did in kindergarten is actually starting to work, right? So we're seeing a pattern and trend. The other thing we're seeing is that in the middle of the year, we're catching them up. And the last thing that we're starting to see is that as a result of knowing this, schools are now starting to implement things at the end of next year and the beginning of the following year for those kindergartners moving into first grade. So we're creating action plans to address it in tier 1 instruction, which is where their core instruction is and not being pulled for additional services for that. So just want to talk about that. Our Black students have grown by 2% in math and our Hispanic students grew by 3%. That's collective of the district. We have 21,000 students in our district. So think about 3% as being a large percentage of kids being moved to being more proficient. That doesn't negate that we have a lot of students who have made significant growth as well. That's not aligned to this response here, right? And then the focus for us as a district is really getting down and deep when it comes to students in reading for ENL students. And so we are working on a pilot. We have Principal Fig, which you all know, Principal Figueroa from 676, who's working on her leadership licensure in terms of district leadership. And so one of the tasks we have, we're working with our new deputy superintendent, who's also here, Angela DeFilippis. I know she looks exactly like Nicole. I have a type. So that's working out for me. It's working out for me, right? So what's happening there is they're working in a partnership with our ENL team member on our team. And we've identified specifically where we're targeting our 4 schools. they're all middle schools of ENL students. The ENL students we're targeting are special ed students who are also ENL students, but specifically entering, emerging, and transitioning, which are the beginner levels of bilingual students, whether that's Chinese, Spanish, Bangla, Arabic, doesn't matter. And what they're doing is they're working on oracy to support students' oral language to develop their writing skills. Because what we've identified is those students are lagging behind and not able to get over the hump of the NICES lab, which is where we're assess English proficiency for English language learners. What we're seeing is that we're not getting over that hump because it's writing. And they struggle with the writing because of the oral language, but also maybe of some of the developmental things that they have as it relates to their IEPs. So we are targeting that work completely separate from everything else we're doing as a district to see if what comes out of that we can use for next year and implementing in tier 1 instruction, which is core instruction. So the kids are not being pulled out for any of those types of things, right? In this data that you're seeing here, it's a 3-year review of the beginning of the year data. I know the screeners has been a taboo for this district for a while, but I'm here to say that it has been extremely beneficial for us in having this screener, because the screeners are now giving us more clarity as to how we support our schools that's evidence-based and research-based. In the past, people were coming up with strategies, but the strategies were coming up at the top of people's heads. Slow down. Yeah, I figured I was going fast, I felt that. At the top of people's heads. And so what ends up happening with that is it might be an okay strategy, but it's not coherent and consistent across a class, or even across a grade, or even across a school, or even across a district. When that happens, you might have pockets of success, but the goal is to have district level success because we want all schools to be successful. When I go back to the CEC's original mission at all times is to ensure that all of our schools are great. We can't do that if we're comparing apples to oranges and bananas. So we now have macro and Acadians as our screener data information, and we have raised the level. And so what you're seeing in this slide, I'm not going to go into the details of the slide, but you're seeing a steady increase in the number of beginning of the year data. So that red line is the number of students participating in. So back in 2022, we only had 83% of students in our district who were eligible to take the Acadians, and I say eligible because certain ENL students do not take this assessment if they're in their first or second year, right? So we started with 83.4% of our students participating in the screener data. We're at 98.5% of our students across the district. I want you to know that as a result, in 2022, the beginning of the year on or above grade level achievement was 61%. We're now at 65%. So there's a 4% increase in how students are doing with these Acadians screener data information. That says a lot to us. What you're not seeing here is also the growth measurement of kids that are not on or above grade level, but have been making significant growth. And I'll eventually get to that in the middle of the year because I want to progress monitor first for you, right? Same thing with math. We have slightly a lower number, which is at 97.3 compared to the 98 in ELA. And part of the reason that has to do with that, it has to do with students who are eligible, but also students who may have been absent when we were giving up the makeups. And if people aren't here, you can't give the assessment. So nonetheless, we went from 50% on or above grade level achievement to 64%, which is a 14% increase.
Next slide.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, next slide. And we're about to go to the next slide after that, but just for the visual for people. So we've increased by 14% in math. Historically, citywide, we do better in ELA than we do math. Historically, in District 15, we're doing just as equally as good in ELA as we are in math. This has been the highest standardized state test scores that New York City Public Schools has had in District 15 is the highest scores. And I don't attribute that to the gains from what the media has been saying about all schools have moved because the test to some extent was easier. We're already at a higher threshold. We ranked number 5 of all city public schools essentially. And we moved up. We were number 6. And before that, we were number 7. And so we just keep sliding up. And part of that is attributed kind of to the work that we've been trying to do, but also in ensuring that everybody's a part of the process and not just some people. On the next slide, I'm not going to go into details, but just like you heard Dr. White, she was talking about the priorities. one of the priorities, of course, that we have to focus on as a district is mathematics. And so all students, we want to ensure that all students have high quality academic experiences. And there are several things that we've been doing. We want to reduce the percentage of students with IEPs in the bottom 20 percentile. And as a result of that, we have to take some steps. Two major steps that we've taken is job embedded coaching, where principals and assistant principal meetings that focus on visiting classrooms and providing feedback to school leaders. We're constantly in the classrooms with leaders helping best practices. We're doing grade level specific math support to focus on implementing a student-centered problem-based curricula, whether that's Eureka Square, whether that's IM, there are different math curriculums that we're using across our district, but I want you to know that we've only allowed the curricula that are content, conceptual understanding of mathematics. That means understanding the why behind the math processes and not just the rote memorization, although that is also necessary for fluency purposes, right? And then District 15's math instructional leads, people who are leading this work in their schools, visit classrooms and support teachers with implementation of that curriculum. Knowledge sharing, we use data to improve lesson plans and support student needs. We're developing professional learning series for district math teachers to come and get support. And then we're developing school coaching plans, individual plans for each school, right? Some of the outcomes we're seeing so far, math teams have communicated central guidance regarding support in ICT co-teaching models. So now we're seeing stronger co-teaching models, especially for those classes that have our special needs students in it. We're seeing the district team has prioritized intervisitations in ICT classrooms. So when we go into these visits, we're also going into ICT classrooms because we want to see the practices of both teachers and how we're maximizing on the use of both teachers. So with class size reduction going from 32 kids in ICT class now to about 20 students in some of our classes and 23 in some of our other classes, depending on what grade. Smaller classes, and now we're going into those classes specifically to target supporting the two teachers as opposed to going to gen ed classes only or visiting another group of students in a particular school. So we're being more intentional about our visits as well. Next slide. Similar things, I'm not gonna go into the details of it, but essentially the same things. You can read the goal. In this particular goal, the first one was IEP students, the next goal was multilingual learners. When we do class visits, we do 3 different school sites. One is our programs that have dual language. One is programs that have our gen ed programs, and the other one is middle schools that have the IM mathematics. So we're seeing 3 types of schools, and school leaders are going to the 3 types that they most serve to support, so that they're getting those practices at the principal level, the assistant principal level, and at the teacher level. So now we're getting more involved. And so hitting on that, and I'll go to the next slide. I'm gonna skip this for the purposes of time. You can go look at that. That will tell you some more strategic things that we're doing for your own leisure. And we've shared this ahead of time with our CEC, so you had it ahead of time to think about what questions you wanted to ask. I'll move on to the next slide. I'm gonna bring on my math team if you guys are on, can you just call yourselves out?
Hi, yeah, this is Layla Rashid. I'm one of the District 15 math instructional specialists. I think Jesse's on here as well, if you want to say hi.
Layla, before you jump in, I'm just gonna give them the context of what you guys are gonna do now. So
Sure.
I've talked about everybody else except for who? Our families. So there's a move that we had to make, and a very strategic move we had to make. And I just want to announce this now because last night we had a workshop which was held by several parents who participated. But Zil, your PAPTA, actually, many of them joined that meeting with Principal Cedarmark that was being conducted yesterday. And what they did yesterday is the move that we're trying to make with our parent coordinators, but also with our own team in strategizing how we support families at the most basic fundamental level. Where we're not dumbing it down for you, but we're putting it at a just right place for those of you who need that higher level context and for those of you who need that lower level context to understand how to support your children in the most basic ways when this is not your forte or this may not be your thing but simple things that you can do. And last night's turnout not only was positive, but we got a lot of positive feedback from the parents about this. And they're gonna go into this, but strategically, we created a plan for our team. We gave you the strategic plan last year. We re-upped it and fixed that. Then we created the literacy guide for the school parents. And then when we did that, we said, well, we thought we were big and bad. I'm not gonna lie about you. It felt really good to say like, this is really good. And then we shared it with parents and parents like, you got it wrong. They literally told us you got it wrong. Because we have representation from every single school in our district give us feedback. So we had these long, extensive documents, but guess what language it was in? Teacher language. And we have a tendency of doing that to parents, which is why parents don't get engaged as much. And so the parents gave us feedback and was like, no, you need to do this and you need to do that, and you need to add this and you need to, and we did that. And then we shared it back with them after we made those changes. Those changes also help how my team designed the interactive conversations that parents were gonna have with us and we were gonna have with parents. And yesterday's PD session was a true testament to how the ELA and the math team have actually gone that next level where parents were asking for more, it was well attended, and now we have regular ongoing cycles for this. I'm not gonna forget Quinshaw, who's here and is a multilingual learner, to remember that we also have to do this in the native language. But what we have done to start off is ensure that all of our caregiver guides were in the 4 major languages across our district. So all of the materials are in those 4 languages. I would attest to see what district outside of District 15 has done that at all for any of their schools or districts across the district. So I'm gonna pass it over to Layla, who's gonna talk to you a little bit about what's happening in math, because I was sharing today with you priority 3. Last month, I shared with you priority 1, which had to do with ELA. So go ahead, Layla, because we have about 2 minutes. I think I used up the 2 minutes 5 minutes ago.
Awesome. All right. So something that teachers and families all agree on is that the way that math is taught now is very different from how we learned it at school. This slide is just showing the 5 different math curricula that are used in elementary schools. So we collaborated with families to create the math guide to help families to support their students. Can you use next slide, please? So the purpose of the guide is to give parents a grade by grade rundown of the most important skills and concepts that students are learning grade by grade. It can be used alongside any curriculum, but all of the curriculum that are being used have family-facing materials. And our primary message to families is to reach out to your schools, to your teachers and parent coordinators to ask about family-facing curricular materials, because that will really align best. Our guide is like an overview with grade by grade, the sort of heavy hitting standards, things that are being taught, as well as what this looks like in the classroom and how families can support at home. So here we made this little comic. We see a parent like concerned about their student. George's kindergarten teacher said that George needs to work on counting. And then we have someone at the school or another family saying, hey, check this guide out. There are things that you can do with your kids specifically to target that area. And so we really used all of the resources available to us to try to include some really engaging, fun activities that families can do with their kids to support the math that they're doing in school. And if someone can just quickly click on the guide so we can just look at that was my 2 minutes, just look at what it looks, pull up what it looks like.
That's funny. Thank you for that, Layla. I'm gonna make sure that they have a copy of it. They've seen it already.
Oh, awesome. Perfect.
For the ELA, but we'll make sure they get it again. And I want to thank you for like being succinct with that and being straight to the point. But that I hope it sends the message of what we're trying to do with our parents and involving them and helping us figure out what's best for them, as opposed to us telling them what we think is best for them, right?
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone.
I'm gonna address some updates that I had. If you look up there, one of the concerns has been about food insecurity. And so what we decided to do is, as a district, identify which of our schools had food pantries. And we reached out to all of our school leaders, and I thank Donna and Zach, our student service managers, who got a list of all of our pantries within our district and identified targeting how schools that don't have pantries and connecting them with the schools that do. So I'm even happy to report, we were just thanked the other day from PS 131, who is in our district. It's a gem right on the corner of our district that really borders two other districts, right by Fort Hamilton and like 40th Street, which is very far from the district. Her school was able to send some families to another pantry in our district to receive additional food from a school that already did their pantry with their families and had excess food to be able to provide. And so to address some of the gaps that unfortunately or fortunately are not our responsibility, but we hold it as our responsibility, we've been creating hubs in our district to provide food for those who are having food insecurity across our district. We've also shared with them a multitude of other pantries that exist across the city, similar to what the CEC has done to help navigate families to those particular things. Last month, you also asked about after-school programming updates, specifically for 516 and 295. I've worked with DYCD, which is the Division of Youth and Child Development, who has mentioned that they're going to continue to monitor available funding following the RFP process, and will consider adding additional schools if resources do become available. That's based on availability. They're going to continue to look at 15K 295, which is one of the schools that was flagged. 516 was also flagged because they lost their Center for Family Life portion of their after school. We're working on those, and I will share shortly in the chat, as well as Angela will email the CEC so that you have access to after school info hub, Discover DYCD, and childcare assistance programs that are connected to New York City for families that are looking for childcare if their school doesn't provide that childcare, where they can have access to bring their children to for those particular programs. The other thing that I wanted to address here was speaking about how we respond to the increased ICE presence in Sunset Park. So I want to be clear that the message that was shared at CEC was not entirely accurate, and I want you all to know that when certain things do happen, I will notify the CEC. I normally let Shanice know, or the CEC president, and she disseminates that information. That's just how it makes it easier to do it that way. What happened, we're talking about PS1. The arrest for ICE happened on 4th Avenue and 47th Street. It wasn't on actual 47th Street. It wasn't directly in front of the school that day. There has been an instance where several weeks ago they were in front of the school, but again, that was way after work hours. They just happened to be around that block. The intent was not for the school. The intent was actually following a vehicle, which they stopped on 4th Avenue, and they arrested the person subsequently on 4th Avenue and 47th. At that time that this happened, it was approximately 6:30. The after-school program that exists there, Center for Family Life, was dismissing their students. And most of those students go to a soccer program that goes until 9 p.m. The soccer program made the option available for parents to do a few things. One, pick up their children and just go home so that they didn't have to deal with whether ICE is going to be around there later in the evening. Two, let their children continue to go through the program. And three, allow for those parents to stay during the program until 9 p.m. when the coast was clear. We follow the DOE protocols. We do not let people in our particular buildings. They are not allowed to go into the buildings, and they are aware of that, which is why they don't do that. So the instance where this actually happened in the school when they were trying to get into the school, that was not the case. And I just want to clarify that for everyone so that we're clear. We have our protocols. We understand what to do and how to do it. And the minute, if there was an action that happened at a school, you'd be the first to know. And I would also be the first to know by the school principal, who called me and notified me of everything and followed all the procedures with our borough safety director. We even notified the local NYPD to be aware of what was going on in the school vicinity. It is a scary time in Sunset Park. It's going to happen even more often than you think, because we do have a lot of migrant families. We are also finding other ways to support migrant families for professional learning and support of their children, such as virtual meetings. I've instructed that same school that had this issue, they had a meeting today to go virtual, just so that parents weren't weary or uncomfortable having to walk to the school and in the process being stopped for whatever particular reason. So I wanted to address that. Speech services for 428, middle school 428. I know that Janet Marte brought that up last month. I want you to know that we have since hired someone to provide speech services. There are still 3 students who are getting an RSA, which allows them to get services outside of the school. And it's specifically for the Mandarin services. We couldn't hire using an H-1B visa for somebody that was gonna provide 5% of their 100% workday to just service those 3 students. They would have to service 60% of their kids for the language. We didn't have 60% for them to service that full time, so they're gonna be getting RSAs. And we're also gonna look and reevaluate whether or not they need it in Chinese or if they need it in English, as they're developing language acquisition. We're gonna look into that. I wanted you to all know that I've been doing focus groups. I did them by community, so I've done 4 focus groups. Windsor Terrace, Kensington South Slope, then I did Park Slope, then I did Sunset Park, and I did Carroll Gardens, Gowanus, Bourne Hill, and Red Hook. The focus groups were designed to kind of provide families with a space to share their experiences in our district. To ensure representation of the district's diverse communities and needs, sessions were organized by neighborhood. Oftentimes in this district, we've had the loudest voice gets heard. So in an effort to try to hear all the voices, I broke it up by different neighborhoods and communities where that safe space existed for people to feel able to be vocal and share. Families were encouraged to have open dialogue. I allowed families to highlight what was working well, what are some challenges and gaps. I listened to everyone. There were some people who had specific things for themselves. We addressed those individual things. I plan to do this 2 more times in the year, in the middle of the year and the end of the year, just to get the family's experience of what's going on for them. I don't share this information with the school leadership. I'm more about how do I use this to triangulate what's going on? How do I address things that are neighborhood specific? And then where do I see connections between all the neighborhoods where I can do district-wide specific, if that makes sense? Some of the things that we found are working well is they feel that there's more consistent communication, there's a higher level of trust, and there's a more welcoming environment. There were some anecdotes from a few parents about how they felt. I'll save you that. But some of the challenges, parents were asking for support for students and families in ELA and math, such as after-school programs, enrichment programs. We have been working with the schools during our observation visits and making schools work on MTSS, which is the multi-tiered support for students. And essentially what we're asking schools to do is, if you have 6 kids who are really struggling on this one thing and you can't get it done during the school day, why aren't you creating an after-school program for those 6 kids to develop their skill set in this? If you have kids who are enriched, why aren't you creating also an enriched program? Why does every after-school program have to be either sports related or because a kid is struggling? Where is that opportunity for developing kids who are advanced and making them even more advanced? So we've been doing a lot of that work. There's been a lot of questions about access to resources such as legal, mutual aid, and pantries. As you're seeing, I'm trying to address those particular things. School funding, I don't know if you all heard, November 1st, Chancellor Vilas Ramos announced that schools are held harmless. Thankfully for our district, because we had about 17 schools that were going to be in the negative.
Can you explain what held harmless?
Yes. Held harmless means that how schools get budgeted each year is based on the number of students. So you get what's called a register projection. So I'm going to make easy numbers. I'm projected for 100 kids with these amount of services, special ed, this, whatever. School gets that budget in May. They plan accordingly so they can hire teachers over the summer and be ready for September. October 31st is what's called a registered deadline. October 31st is the date where we determine if you had those 100 kids or not. If you have less, you have to move money to pay back the DOE because you got money for the number of kids that you don't have. If you get more, then the DOE is going to have to refund you money and give you more money back so that you have for more resources. There's also another deadline that's December 31st. And that deadline is separate from the register deadline. So the register deadline is 100, but let's say I had 20 special ed kids and now I have 18, but we have 2 IEPs in the process and we get to those 20, you're going to be held harmless for that December 31st. But if you get more special ed and more ENL students by that December 31st date, that's another pot of money that you'll get as a school, right? Some schools are complaining that they're not getting their full funding for paraprofessionals. Go ahead.
So when you're held harmless, it means you don't have to pay the money.
Correct. We've been doing that consistently now for the past 4 years, but it's now seems like there's an expectation that that's what's gonna happen, but they can't. So schools do play safe in that they do what's called register projection loss money and register gains money. They put money to the side, just in case, I'm not sure, maybe kind of like, savings, that type of thing. Something else was brought up in these was swim classes for 2nd graders. I currently have my parent coordinator working with seeing if we can get YMCA or one of the other organizations that have swimming pools around here and seeing how we can create some form of a program to eventually have second graders to be able to swim. She's working on that, so to be determined. Probably not gonna happen this year, but it's something that I'm working for next year, which parents ask. And more multicultural programs. To address that, we got a $82,000 grant from the Arts Department. We're including Afro Jazz for several students across our schools. And we're including Carnegie Hall, the showing of Oklahoma that students are gonna be exposed to. That ranges from from elementary through middle school and high school. So all students from all schools will have students from all schools will have participation in this. And then we separated funding for over 200 and something tickets for the students who perform on our district ensemble that we do as a whole district, grades 3 through 12. Those students with their families will be able to are gonna be able to go see Aladdin on Broadway. Like we did last year for Lion King, we're gonna do Aladdin this year. They're gonna be able to see it this year, they're gonna be able to see it before they actually perform. So they'll get some ideas of how to improve their practice. That's it.
I suspect that you have.
Oh, done. Just the next slide is town hall, which you already said, and that's there, and that's about it. So Q&A.
So Kim's gonna run the Q&A in a second. We are gonna switch things up a little bit for timing. So when we get to CEC comments, we're just gonna do it. If anybody has a comment or question, just raise your hand, rather than going person by person. So.
Okay, do we have anyone in person or on the Zoom or in the translation lines that have any comments or questions? If you could just please make it known. if
You're not allowed to tell me.
And start with the in-person.
Hello, everybody. Antonia Ferraro, former president of your body, glad to be here. I hear wonderful things about all of you from Katina, how collaborative all of you are. So thank you for taking on this role and carrying the work forward. I really appreciate all of you. And my question is sort of a horrible question, unfortunately, when I'm hearing about what's going on with ICE. Are families requesting virtual learning?
I haven't had requests for virtual learning, and especially not from those communities, because again, what's being shared is not necessarily the experience that, while the parents and families are concerned and afraid, but what's being shared about what's being seen out there is not necessarily the reality of what actually is happening. And our schools are doing a lot of measures to support. So whenever we are aware that something like that, we'll do a lockdown. And in the lockdown, we notify our parents. So our parents are aware of that lockdown through Messenger, right? So we haven't had that experience. There is a lot of concern of families. And we are thinking of more strategic ways to support those families so that they don't have to expose themselves in any particular ways that might compromise them. But we haven't had, yeah. I've had more concerns of the people who are not the people who should be the most concerned than the people who are most concerned. When we do have that, we have been connecting them, the schools already know to directly connect them to the school leader connects directly to me, and then we internally provide direct supports to the individual families. And we have, I wanna say at least 30 families that we have provided the specific supports for, up to and including support legally, up to including support around what to do, how to do it, how to coordinate, all those things we've been getting them support with directly. Yeah.
And the only thing I just want to say, I brought some low cost swag from PTA Lane for you guys to share.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
share with your school.
And I'm gonna get my hug.
Other guests do not need to bring swag with them. It's not a requirement.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any questions on Zoom, including the translations line? Right now, I do not see a hand. I'll give it that 10-second wait, teacher wait time. But at this point, I'll go to the council members. And once again, if you come up with a question and you haven't said it, please put it in the chat and we'll get to it when we can. Any council members? Yes.
Just a very brief comment. You mentioned the after-school funding,
Yeah.
some particular schools, just, I can reach out separately, but that came up with PS 958 when I visited, that they've had issues with their after-school funding
Yeah,
as well, so.
yeah.
I put that-
Schools don't get funding for after school. Those come from DYCD
Yeah.
and the RFPs are designed to determine who needs it more than others. Not to say that a school may not need it, but when they factor in a lot of complicated calculations, things run a certain way. So for example, recently we were offered one, we just got a new one for 172. So 172 is now going to be getting something for next year. Last summer I talked about 131, where they were not slated to get something, and I advocated to be able to add them into that slate, so they are getting an after-school program. We also got one for 230 that started this particular year. So I'm advocating more for more after-school programs. Some of the schools that want the after-school programs, unfortunately, are not gonna be able to get it based on the RFP process that's involved in determining. But many schools have been working with after-school programs, and we've been working on finding after-school programs that are free or that are low cost to our communities.
And am I correct, just building off, am I correct that the new mayoral administration, a priority
Yes,
is to
yeah,
have?
yeah, absolutely.
free-
So the current administration has put more funding for more schools, which is why we saw more schools getting it. We were able to add 3 schools as a result of this current mayor's initiative. The new incoming mayor has talked about ensuring that there's after school for all schools. So I would imagine that they're gonna reprioritize funding of the city's budget to move towards that if approved by City Hall.
Thank you.
A couple of things. One, the alert that the CEC received about ice in the PS one's area was sent by neighbors. And so I don't mind sharing that I was alerted and I'm like, that's my liaison school, I'm going over there. And I see that Principal Wanda Lopez Ramirez is on, and we got to speak too. She said that I could speak about our conversation, that her families were experiencing a lot of fear last year, but this year, they're like, we have to go to work, we have to go to school, we have to live our lives. They're not seeing a drop in
Attendance or enrollment,
Attendance.
yeah. Our attendance has actually gone up by 0.6 at this same time this year compared to last year.
Okay.
And our chronic absenteeism has gone down by already 2.3% from last year at the same exact time. So we're doing something where kids are coming more, so it's not that they're coming less, at least not in this district.
At the same time, the same neighbors, I mean, everyone is looking to how we can support. There is an increased presence
Yes.
in Sunset Park. It happens to be, it's going to be around schools.
Yes.
And it may cause some fear. I think I've been speaking with Katina around this, and we do want to offer people resources for how you can receive this training and how to respond to these kind of situations. So we're.
And schools are shared these resources, and parent coordinators are being given these resources on a weekly basis. As a matter of fact, today, the PC Weekly went out, the Parent Coordinators Weekly went out from our district, from Michelle, and in that, there are the resources for the things that you guys asked for in terms of what is the latest news today, because it changes week to week, month to month. So as the newest updates come, the parent coordinators have access to where those meetings and things are happening to provide to the particular communities and their schools, and we've been posting them on our website as well.
Is it possible to keep us in the loop, or should we just go to the website?
Yeah, we can find ways to keep you in the loop, but what ends up happening is I don't email every single
No.
constituency, but I can email CEC 15, which Shanice gets, and then she can share those with you. And then if you individually have something from me about any of your particular schools, feel free to email us. Jonathan will email us in a heartbeat. When Shaw emails us on certain things, like, don't feel like you can't reach out to me as a superintendent or any of my deputy superintendents. We're here to answer, and so whatever you're asking, we're gonna find an answer to. You might not get it right then and there because we have to do our homework. But certainly as a CEC, you have direct access to myself and my deputy superintendents. You are elected officials, from my perspective, to the communities to represent the community. You have full access to us. Don't ever feel you cannot reach out to us and feel like it has to go. But when I send out a message to CEC, I normally send it out directly to the president who can then reach out to the constituency. But you all need to reach out to me individually directly about something about any of your schools. Feel free to do so. You have access to me.
Can we be added to the PC Weekly?
Yeah, I'll have Michelle do that. Yeah, you got it? Yeah, we'll have Michelle Ortiz do that, so you'll get emails about the PC Weekly and what the updates are for them, so that you know what they're supposed to be sharing with schools. That's fine.
And then, sorry, the second thing was on food insecurity.
Yeah.
We have allotted some time to discuss that after.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, cool. Stay tuned.
I had two very quick things.
Yeah, sure.
And so one is actually about parent coordinators.
Okay.
Is, I think at the last meeting you talked about distributing the reading literacy family guide
Yeah,
out. And so is there a plan in terms of rollout of when, you know, parent coordinators can start sharing that?
parent coordinators could have already started sharing that out as of 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then, because we also, we wanted to wait till we had it translated, because in a full transparency, my responsibility is I don't want to send something out in English first and then the other language after. That sends a message that the other languages aren't as important as the English language. And while we are an American city and our language here in the United States is English, we have to honor those that we serve. And if we are really truly a diverse, inclusive, equitable environment, we have to ensure that we're giving access. And so I've made that commitment from the day one that I started to ensure that anything that goes out gets translated. So it takes us a little bit of time. We find our ways to translate. So I always wanted to make sure that happens. So that, like, you know, CECs, you guys want the presentations earlier. It's hard, but we get it done. But then part of the issue is I want to make sure Quinn Shaw also has her translation so that she doesn't have to fester through other, she should have the same access. And so we try to make sure she gets Chinese at the same time you guys get English. So it takes a little bit longer, but we are working to solidify, strengthen that. It's also on the district's website. And you're seeing these monthly meetings that my team members are doing with community so that they are involving this. It's gonna be a process that's gonna take time. One of the things that the PAPTA did say is that, is there another way that we can continue to keep giving these guides out? Because these were great, but putting it on the website, we're not necessarily sure how many people are gonna go on the website to do it. So we have to find other creative ways to blast this information. I'm probably gonna do a gamma blast, so everybody will get that on their NISTA accounts. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and my only other question is did you, for the focus groups, I love that you're going community by community. How are you selecting who is?
It's open. So what I've done first is we talked to the parent coordinators. And what we're doing is trying to understand what community wants. So in one community, it was in person. They wanted in person, I have to show up in person. One community, Sunset Park wanted it in the morning, because they all have to go to work, so they want to meet early in the morning. So I did it 8 o'clock in the morning, boom, 8 to 9. Another community wanted me from 6:30 to 7:30 PM. Okay, I'll do it in my living room, 6:30, 7:30 PM, because it's not about me and my timing, and I got this from you last year in terms of what does the community want? So we've allowed the PCs to let us know what does the community want? When do they want me? And then I make myself available, and it's open to everybody. I don't, it could be open to a community member who has something to say about the school and the district. It literally is an open forum. What we do have is structure of what we want to hear. It's not that I want to hear what I want to hear. I want to hear, what do you think is going well in your school? What do you think we can improve on, and then what are some challenges you're facing that you want us to help close the gap for? And I'm very open, tell me whatever it is. I had a parent crying on one of those and was anonymous about what she needed in terms of support. We finally figured out who it was. We helped that person. Another parent was having an issue at the school that I had no idea about. And she didn't know who to reach out. And because we had this forum, we were able to fix the situation that was making her feel unsafe for her child, or her child feeling unsafe as a result of a health issue. We fixed it, because apparently she was getting misinformation. And so, like, that's what that's there for. I want to be more open. This chancellor talks about making sure family is more heard. And so I'm trying to do more of that. Year 1 and 2 is kind of fixing a lot of things that were not systems and structures. I'm at year 4 now in this district. Now it's more about, like, where am I getting the input of how we've been doing, what we've been doing, and what changes we need to make. Oh, there's a lot of great. Doesn't look like it because I died. You know.
Okay.
Okay, 分享。
我知道今天的会议讨论的内容比较多，所以我把我的2分钟省略出来，就由你来发言。
So I know, I understand today's presentation is quite lengthy, so I condensed my questions into a paragraph. That I asked my interpreter to read it out loud.
对
Okay.
第一个就是关于课后的，刚才我们的团队已经提出来了，大家已经知道了。然后我现在想分享一个我收集到的信息。
So one of the question we have discussed it about already. So that question was about the after school program, which we discussed it already. I have another concern that I put it on my tablet, so I will going to read it out loud. Okay. A few days ago, I learned that this year PS94 has shown significant improvement in ELA, English Language Arts, scores across all categories compared to last year. Screener data also indicate clear growth from the beginning to the end of the school year. This success is attributed to consistent small group instruction, which balances academic rigor with attention to students' social emotional needs. Language support is particularly important, as many students have had limited exposure to English. In this year's instructional plan, the school continues to deepen explicit instructions. All teachers have completed Alton Gillingham training, a research-based phonics approach. Each grade has specific instructional requirements, and all teachers follow comprehensive skills progression. When students fall behind, instruction begins at prerequisite skills levels to help them reach grade level expectations. Building on PS94's successful practices, integrating language support with academic instruction, such as providing home language terminology in math lessons, can effectively improve English learners' proficiency and achievement. This approach ensures that English learners have full access to the curriculum and are able to improve their academic performance.
Thank you.
So to respond to that, yes, all of our schools have gotten K-2 training and are continuing to get K-2 training for the teachers around Fort Gillingham practices. It's not going to solve our problems around grade level content standards, but it will solve some of the issues that teachers face when they struggle in teaching phonics instruction. And we have been seeing the closing of the gap for K-2, which is why you're seeing significant gain at PS94. But if you look at data across the district, a lot of our schools made gains in ELA and in mathematics for those same reasons as it relates to what you talked about in the beginning, direct explicit instruction, which is one of the shifts that we've been focusing on. So I don't know if you recall, when the city's been doing Read NYC and NYC Solve, a lot of it is about the curriculum and the curricular choices. But the reality is that message is incorrect. The city's NYC Reads and NYC Solves is about shifts. The curricula is only one shift, but there are 6 other shifts that impact the overall process of the student's education. MTSS, which looks at the whole child and how to provide more support in tier 1. The explicit instruction, which is directly teaching a student what this is instead of them guessing what it is. The idea of the foundational skills and learning the phonics and phonemic awareness that we have since lost for a long time in our system. Those are some of the things that we have been working with Quinshaw to address the gaps, which is why we're starting to see gains citywide, but also in this district. We've been putting a heavier emphasis beyond the curricula, because the curricula is not going to solve all of our problems. It's going to solve one aspect of our problem, which is why you've heard me as a superintendent always in this district, and I think I got in trouble last year for saying it. It's all about finding the balance in all the areas to support students, but it all has to be based on evidence-based research. We gotta stop guessing what kids need and actually use what the research says kids need most. And so that's what I've been committed to, and that's why you're seeing the gains you have seen at PS 94 and pretty much every school in our district, for the most part.
Thank you. We do have a question.
Yeah, I'll answer that. So Fanny Manza Luna, she's a parent at 516, asking if they can find ways to appeal the DYCD's request because they're gonna lose about 200 seats for Center for Family Life at PS 516. As I shared with you earlier in my report, I am working with DYCD to find some solutions to PS 516 as well as 295's needs for after school that were brought up by Elton last month, one of the CEC members. So Fanny, I'm working on it. As soon as I hear more information, I will be sharing that with the school community. I'm just very wary about sharing something that's not an exact until I have an answer, and I like to have a committed answer before I give you a committed response. But I'm working on it, promise. And I see she says thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other CEC members with questions or comments? I do have myself one question regarding the new mayoral, the incoming mayor-elect. Has he or is he speaking to CECs, educators?
I know that he's been speaking to a lot of constituencies. I'm not necessarily sure if he has been speaking to the CCs yet. I think the CC president could probably give a report if she has met with them yet. I haven't heard anything yet, but I do know that he has been meeting with a lot of educators. He's been meeting with the unions. He's also been meeting with the DC 37, the UFT. I believe he's met with PSA, not sure. But I know that he's meeting with community members, people involved, for example, in city council that run the education committee, like Chair Joseph and others. So I know he's making himself aware of the education and educational policies, and I know that he has a brief educational policy to move forward. Where they are with that, I think they're still in the transition of triangulating who they want to bring in, and then what systems and structures they want to put in place. Until then, we're gonna continue full steam forward. We are very clear that he's not looking to get rid of NYC Reads or NYC Solve. So we're gonna continue that work around the shifts and ensuring that our kids get what they need to be able to read at this point. And so new leadership comes in, we'll determine where they want to focus. But I can assure you, project-based learning will continue in this district. I can assure you, Read NYC, NYC Solve will continue in our district, and all the other initiatives that we have going. As it relates to GNT and everything else, I'll have to see where that goes from there.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Okay, I'll wait for that.
Right here.
Yeah, so Angelica Jadunandan is gonna lead our discussion about coordinating how to support food insecurity across the district.
So over the past few weeks, schools across District 15 have been doing a lot of important work to support families through food drives, partnerships with local organizations, and parent-led efforts. And what we want to do now is make it easier for schools to stay connected, avoid duplicating efforts, and support one another more efficiently when a need comes up. So when I did my PS 58 tour, the principal shared that 124 received support from multiple schools after they made a direct request. And then other schools reached out to them and were like, how can we get this in help too? So PS 58 is sending food supplies to 3 schools in the district. And at our at PS 39, at our last PA meeting or the exec board meeting, there's a parent who works closely with the Camp Friendship Food Pantry. And she reminded us that the strongest solutions come from utilizing the systems already in place and not trying to reinvent the wheel. So these conversations highlighted the same need. We need a simple way to connect schools with their community partners and with one another when support is needed. So rather than what we saw was 124 received a lot of support. There were still other schools that needed it. And how can we create a system so that it's evened out?
So how schools are receiving support is based on the actual school's already existing need prior to this situation in terms of the benefits, right? So 124 has a high STH population, a high special ed population, a high poverty population. Ergo, because a large percentage of them have this, they're able to receive the additional food pantry services. PS 94 being another school. So several of our schools are red hook schools, right? So that's how that's been happening. And then also the partnerships that the schools individually created with the food pantries. What we have done is, we can't change that. There's nothing I can do to rob Peter to pay Paul, if you will, right? But what we have been able to do, which is what I shared with you earlier, and I would love to get you in connection with my 2 student service managers who have worked with the schools to be able to do why 58's been able to go there and other schools have been able. We triangulated, which you'll see in the PowerPoint slide, the schools in our district that currently have existing pantries. Why reinvent the wheel? And then neighboring them with schools that are within the vicinity for those families to be able to easily get to be able to receive the resources that exist currently in that school, so that we're supporting families from the community. So for example, PS 94 has had their pantry for over 5 years. And in their pantry, normally what happens is the pantry is for the students and families that belong to the school. And then the last 2 days of the pantry, they leave it open for anybody in the community, even if they don't have students. What we have done is we've continued that, but we've redirected it so that schools within the area of 94 can go to 94 to receive food services. The same way 124 did. So the reason why 124 opened up their doors is because of our effort. When we heard last, it was actually during one of my focus groups, a parent said, how are you gonna help our families use our schools as hubs? Is there a way you could help us with figuring out how do we get resources for food when we don't have those resources right now, or it was in jeopardy at the time? That prompted me to say, we need to figure out how many pantries we have in our district and figure out how to organize.
So I do wanna make a note, 39 was not on the list, but we did food donations to 124, as did 107,
Right.
and that was not on the list.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm hoping is to get first, I also saw that on the list of resources, and I know it wasn't a complete list,
Yeah.
but like we have Camp Friendship that's right across the street, and I know we've sent out a lot of resources in general, but I'd love to know that every school knows which
Where to go.
community partners.
Let me connect you, since you're the lead on this, with, Angelica Jonathan. John Dunandon. I always say that wrong. I just say Angelica J. Please connect her with Donna as well as Zach, so that they can systematize the pantries that already exist and expand them in a way that might support schools that are not on the list, that may already have those resources, so that every school has a place to actually go for the additional resources at this point. That way it's a district-wide initiative.
And so my idea, just to share a little bit, was to know the steps, like first, if your school can, to collect donations for your own school. Next, contact those community partners that already exist. And then to have a point person at every school that with a shared list of this is what our school is asking for, so that those schools that are able to provide can say, we can complete that.
That sounds perfect to me. So I'm gonna connect you with Donna and Zach, who've been kind of leading on that. You guys can kind of share those particular ideas. And if we have to, we can bring in those principals that already have those existing pantries to figure out how we can coordinate amongst all 40 schools to ensure that everyone has access somewhere.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Were there any other thoughts or comments from council members, or if there are other members of the community who have additional ideas on how we could better coordinate?
Thanks, John.
Sorry, it's the old parliamentarian in me. Yeah.
Like that, oh, I missed that one.
Yeah.
But let's see, do we have any hands or comments? No. I think we're good.
Then you made it before the 8:15 time. Look at
Oh, I
that.
know. Well, we have one more thing to talk about.
We do.
And I texted Carmine saying like, hey, we're not gonna get to you till probably at least 8:15.
Okay.
But thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, sure. Do you guys need me to stay for the business meeting for anything, or?
Yeah, if you could stay till 10 PM. Sure.
No.
Tomorrow night, too, Halloween night.
Something.
No, you kidding? Yeah, but tomorrow night, because we have a
Yeah.
few schools on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be there till about 11, 12, maybe 1.
Thank you.
No, that really is the times that those
Yeah.
meetings go.
Yeah.
11, 12, 1, maybe. All right, great.
Thank you, Raphael.
No problem. Sure.
So our last agenda item for the calendar meeting portion of our double meeting is to discuss working group next steps, and Angelica Cesario is going to just talk through some things that we've been brainstorming in terms of getting these off the ground.
Yeah, so I'll just open up the floor for conversation. And so, some of us met briefly, we had an informal discussion yesterday. And one thing we're thinking in terms of the working groups is it may be best to start with a small number of working groups that we can more closely manage and reflect and assess how well they're working or not before we begin to expand further and create additional groups. So we kind of were thinking like, what are some of the issues we've been seeing and discussing so far? And then kind of from that, emerged the idea of creating 3 broad working groups, right? So one would be on equity and language access. So those are different topics, but they're also very closely aligned, right? It's hard to tease out one from another. And these are working titles, just workshopping as a group, of equity being first, just so it's clear that it's its own distinct issue in tandem with language access. And this group, I think, could cover a broad range of issues, including some of the issues we've been discussing around immigration, right? We've been discussing gender equity, the various issues that our vulnerable communities are facing.
I did want to just say, I just forwarded the email of this informal conversation we had that led to what Angelica is talking about to all of you. So you have it written down in your email, all these different working groups.
Thank you, Jonathan. The next one, we're thinking instruction and programming. So the idea was we wanted a working group that could broadly embody the issues concerning pedagogy, right? Since obviously, clearly it's at the core of many of the issues we're talking about, but also programming more generally, like athletic programming, for example, or other types of enrichment programs. So, it's broad instruction and programming, I think is broad enough to encompass a number of programmatic issues within the school, but still has a discrete scope. And then the third was operations and infrastructure. So, a lot of issue, which is maybe covering more like administrative and logistical arm of things within school. So busing, facilities needs, technology needs, right? Kind of core administrative and structural needs, right? Needed to support school. So that's the initial idea, kind of these 3 broad working groups that can cover a number of different issues. And then, potentially in the future, there's room to expand or, kind of split them apart, but that might be a good place to start.
What do people think?
Yeah.
That's good.
Do you,
I like it.
yeah,
I like that they are broad enough to include multiple things.
yeah.
And the group can focus on different items as they need to,
Mhm.
but they're general enough, but they're interrelated.
Right.
Is the idea that each group would present at the meetings, like what they've been working on?
Yeah.
So this has been a long
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's been a long conversation, but yes, it's the CEC liaison for the group, because the group can and will consist of community members, and it's the CEC liaison that will say, this is what the working group has accomplished, like, Angelica has been looking into the ICE issue, or maybe that'll be under the access and equity issue. She'll just present where she's up to and what the group is working on, yeah. And if we need a resolution, then it could be presented that, okay, let's make this into a resolution, and then we start to have those conversations.
I think we're gonna build into every agenda moving, once these have been formed, we'll build into every agenda space for the share out, but if a group's like, no, we have nothing this month. We're just working, we're meeting, we'll update next month and then we'll do that, so it could be. I think we'll just need to touch base prior to meetings to let people know kind of the scope of what the share out looks like. So that we can allot the right amount of time for it, and, you know, if all, let's say we go with all three of these and all three of like, we have a ton to present, then we'll just need to look at what's the feasibility and do we need to, you know. Yeah, allot X amount of time so that we can do the rest of the agenda, but we're figuring this out as we go, but we're trying to do it strategically. But yeah, I mean, I think the next step is if everybody is in agreement that these are three solid working groups, is what do we do next, right? So, do we, and this is where I wish Elton was here, as our, you know, but we luckily still have two other lawyers here that can maybe help, but, do we need to formally vote?
I don't.
I don't think so, right? We don't need to formally vote on these things because it's just a working group. Anthony, right? Do we need to vote on the ones we?
I know you have
I was gonna
specific,
say, I think we need to
you have to.
hold the
No, the bylaws said that we did not need to vote on
Right.
the working groups and what the
Right.
working groups do,
Right.
that's for us to determine.
Right, that's, I was 99% sure,
Yeah.
but I don't have the bylaws in front of me. Yeah.
So this is like consensus, we agree that these are the groups, I'm gonna actually create folders
Okay,
in our shared drive, that it says working groups, and then I'll do subfolders in that
yeah,
of these three topics.
uh-huh.
And then I guess over the chat, we can determine who wants to be on.
Well, would it make sense? Yeah, go ahead, Kara.
I was just derail this a little bit. I just have one question about, just technology being in operations and infrastructure versus in instruction and programming.
Okay.
Would that be mutually exclusive? Because I feel like there's
It applies to both.
technology, like getting the technology into the class, but
Like
then
hardware,
what
software
are you
purchase.
doing with it? Which I think is like a key, at least in my community, a really key talking point about instruction.
It's also an
Yeah.
equity issue.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
to that point,
Yeah.
like, there's overlap.
Okay.
where There's not, it's not so clean, like equity kind of, busing, right, is also an equity
Right,
issue,
right.
like a lot of these things, there's overlap. I think that's okay.
Okay.
Would it make sense for people to maybe just say now if they are interested in participating in one, and then the people who are interested in being a part of it can decide on maybe who the liaison is, and then work on sort of blasting out to the community, like who wants to join this new working group and figuring out a way to do that based on sort of what the
I'm
needs of
taking
the,
notes for that, so.
yeah.
I'll fire
Does that,
it.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you wanna read it out again, the description, or?
Sure.
And people can, I just wanna say, like, people can either not join any, nobody's required to do this, or you could join multiple. It's, there's no requirements in terms of the number that you are a part of. But, as long as we have at least one CEC liaison for each working group, we're good. But if you feel like you have the time and space to join multiple, you can. If you feel completely overwhelmed with just other things in life, then maybe you just say, hey, I'm gonna take a backseat right now, and then I'll jump in when I have the space. So I just wanna sort of preface it with that, and there is no judgment either way in terms of anything. We're volunteers doing the best we can, so just wanted to put that out there.
So just to repeat the groups, it's
Yeah.
equity and language access, instruction and programming, which kind of broadly encompasses pedagogy, curricula, athletic programming, just academic programming, and then operations and infrastructure.
I'm sending you an email also.
About what?
Oh, sorry. With everything written.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
In
It
the
could be
drive,
better.
so
It
it's
could
in
be about
the drive
A great
now.
restaurant to go to.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
It's in the drive now, so you can link in and take a minute.
So is there anybody, I'll just go from the top, is there anybody who would love to try to be a part of the equity and language access group to start? Okay, so both Angelica's, Chingsha and Basil. Awesome. And then instruction and programming. I would like. You and me? Beautiful.
I'm gonna join you as long as I'm not the lead, because I'm already.
No,
Yeah.
we got you. We'll rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, so like, Kara.
Yeah. And then, we're doing great. I mean, I'm proud of us. Yeah, Chingsha.
So, can you clarify what is instruction and programming?
So the instruction and programming could be a lot of things. I think it can deal with anything related to teaching and learning, in the classroom, in the school, but it could also be about, anything impacting students and kids outside of school. So, after school programs, athletics, those kinds of things. And I was also thinking like Ken's idea that we kind of talked about at the last meeting of creating more of a, college university, D15 partnership. Like I thought it would fit under this as well. So that's kind of what we were thinking.
我这个先考虑一下，跟那个，
So-
我先加入那个工作小组。
I for the second one for instruction and programming,
Yeah.
I need to think about it. So
Okay.
I will decide later.
那
Oh,
个
no
头
problem.
干比较高。
Yeah. No pressure. Yeah, if you are not ready to make any decisions now, that is completely fine too. Who is interested in the operations and infrastructure group? Double committing, like jumping in. Okay, so Basil, anybody else interested in that one?
It's so not fun, but.
No,
But
it
it's
is.
important.
And I feel like Katina, I mean, this was kind of Katina's
Yeah.
idea, so I'm just gonna say,
I'll put a question mark,
yeah.
an Elton question mark.
And Elton, too, yeah, obviously, the people who aren't here. Yeah, but Basil, if it ends up just being you, we'll figure it out. We'll go from there and try to get one other person who can kind of survive. I think it would be great if every working group can have 2 CEC members at minimum. So you don't feel as much of the burden.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so I think if we can then just connect and then try to maybe have each, do we want to do just a CEC wide kind of blast out of like, these are the working groups and maybe some, like we could create a Google form. Like if you're interested in this, like click the one that you're interested in. What's your contact information?
And availability.
And availability.
Well, preference for
Yeah.
meeting time.
Yeah, and then.
It's morning.
And then the
evening.
liaison can reach out, and maybe we can set a deadline of. I don't know,
Is there a cap on the group?
no? I mean, we can decide if it feels
We need to
unwieldy,
fill him in, because we had like 3 meetings about this.
a lot of discussion. Yeah,
And.
yeah,
and
I mean, the key
bylaws.
is we need community members, it can't just be us, right? So we can't, if it's just us, we can't really move forward with it, so it's really important, the first thing that we do is recruit community members, and so we can do a general blast out, but we can also do targeted asks. So if you know that, like for your working group, you want to work on busing, for instance, that maybe you want to target parents or family members who have been active in the community and advocating for busing rights. Maybe you want to also maybe include people who have worked with busing or whatever, like, so that it's being very strategic with some of the asks, as well as more the general broad ask of who just wants to be a part of it. Does that make sense? Anything else? Anything we missed on that?
It's
Okay.
8:19.
I know, I'm proud of us. This was close,
Yeah.
okay? So I move to adjourn the calendar meeting. Okay, why don't we take, do we need to vote on that? I don't know, former president. I don't think so. Okay, second, yeah, we're good. Why don't we take a quick stretch bathroom break? I will text Carmine, who was downstairs from the second floor. And once Carmine comes up, why don't we say that we'll start the next meeting at 8:25? Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. You all are awesome.
You see a lot of the key cases, so.
Okay.
Tell me the link. I'm sorry to.
It feels weird to be on the side of the tree. It feels like weird, but not.
We're so happy to have you here. Did you live near 130?
Yeah.
Just.
But I thought she left.
Where was the Paris for you?
Oh my God. She, something like a couple weeks ago, and I thought we like plans to meet it.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Well, no, we're gonna talk about that Monday. Because, yeah. Oh, she wants me in person for that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's not enough hours in the day. Like,
Fine.
I'm just not.
Okay.
I don't know.
And then
But
last
no,
week,
I
just
have it,
work has been
okay.
ridiculous for me, so I've been,
Yes.
I work in
it's on my
Jersey, but I've had to
calendar.
be at night, observe my students
But I
at school,
just-
so like
yeah,
last week, prior to the 5 days, I had to
But I
be
think
at a
I'm
school
at 11.
at 7:15 in the morning. So I
Yeah,
was leaving here at like 5:45 and then I was
Okay,
like,
yeah, you
it's
just
not
like-
like midnight. It's just 20-hour days. You know?
Yeah.
I know. Okay, let me see if I can. I'll catch up on sleep, but.
Here's my sandwich.
No, I don't like.
Okay.
I.
Yeah.
But also, when
I
I
know,
looked
I
into it,
know.
there, you have to have been practicing within the last 2 years. I'm like, a lot to get it, and I haven't been, because I haven't worked since my college.
Anyway,
So,
anyways, today it was like for like when I said it was.
Wow, I'm not going back.
Stop.
Microwave. Constantly.
No microwave. I never even thought to use that, or the toaster oven.
Good long-winded, don't you?
I pass, hesitate.
For some pizza that's actually better cooked.
Like.
It's very rare, but there's this pizza place on the West Coast. that it froze, and it has
That's what I'm
this,
here
like,
for, right?
meal crust. And I would literally wait for it to get cold, so I could eat it, 'cause it was just better cooked.
Do you cover this?
No.
No, oh, okay. Okay, that's not.
It's just, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Crazy,
Yeah, just like, and I saw it come in, I was like, oh, this looks
Like,
important to read. I started to look at it, and then I never read it. Always have.
More clarification about the
Everything else that I'm like, kind of roll it.
Yeah, everything is festering over there. I don't know. They have not mail at the moment.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I literally have, I think, 8.
They're like, care
Because
forward.
it includes my kids' emails. Yeah, so the things we email.
Yeah.
Like, I just sort of like.
It's a lot of notifications, yeah. We'll check it out. There it is. I've got.
One thing that.
That quick.
Yeah.
It counts.
That festering at the moment. So, and the proper way to go about that. Right?
There's always that guy in the room now, and a lot of don't.
You did a great job. Portion of this bullshit. Looks like preparing today. Doesn't feel right. But
Yeah, we live, so we're in Huntington.
I'm glad that I get
You live right.
to coordinate with them, you know, make something work. It's not gonna be the last time. I like that. Yeah, totally neglected. And I'm glad you mentioned other schools were on that list. Yeah, well, because I know like 39, 107 set up a pantry, like, they're taking like a 3 or 4 prong approach. It's like, right, and all for one school. And no one is better. Yeah. On the first one, I look at a child, work.
I have to trust Lynn.
Yeah, so do you ever have to like get sort of?
The first working group, I mentioned it, and I looked at you and I'm like. Like, we do, yeah, together, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, my kids are being, on these age.
I did the walk.
You have one.
Yeah, I mean, the principal. Oh, right, yeah. When did you go?
Yeah.
I know, no Halloween? Surprised to see that. Like, my daughter didn't do this summer, but she's done bean sprouts. Like, almost every other summer. So they play like in the 12-yard. And we've been in, I've been in the safety. Like, during the summer, this is kind of like. But so that was very different. I had no idea about the football. And then when I got there, she was like, you'll see there's no boys.
That's why whenever I've been doing my tours, I'm like, follow it.
It's everything.
And Jim. Why do you find? And he on the gym.
Good. We don't have a gym.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start.
We have
Okay. And also let everybody know what we talked about.
因为他刚才讨论了，就是解决食品的问题，就是会分配到每一所学校去吗？因为我收集到的这14次。
Do we lose Shanice?
因为我们刚才的。
We live. We live in Oh, yeah, we are.
You want me to turn it off?
It looks like it's transcribing us. Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
大家还记得他是
Oh, this one.
一个学校
Hopefully no incriminating conversations happening. Well.
对呀。
I think I just told the world.
Okay, so I think we're gonna try to get started again.
是说每所学校都比。
And so we had
So, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Angelica.
Angelica. So we have a question regarding to the pantry distribution of the food. So I heard about you mentioned about the school. You making distribution of the food to different school districts, right?
Okay, got it. Okay.
We're going to connect schools that can give donations to the schools that are asking for them.
Okay.
So it's not like one central pantry. It's like who just figuring out how do we connect these schools that are want to, you know.
哦，他并不是说有一个学校专门是负责供应食物的，就是说他们会负责人有哪些学校会可以提供食物的，哪些学校是可以接收食物，然后他们会让
December 1st will be my start date. They're announcing it tomorrow at a leadership meeting, so yes. They
就会接收食物。
I live in Queens, but I live in Middle Village. It's not far, but the director that he's retiring, so they need somebody with experience. And they asked me, and I've been around a long time, so unfortunately.
比如说。
But Anthony's coming over with a ton of experience.
So
I'll give every.
Yeah, I'm sure. So they don't have the they cannot get access to the food. So how can we get those foods to different
So
districts?
58 has been the. And we can, but it's 58 delivered to the schools that they're, and so is 39. 39 has delivered the donation.
Let's eat.
Okay, so I would like to, with a mouthful of pizza, sorry about that. I would like to officially call our business meeting to order. Kara, if you wouldn't mind doing a roll call again.
Okay, Councilmember Angelica Cesario,
Present.
Councilmember Jonathan Davis,
Present.
Councilmember Ken Eby,
Present.
Councilmember Angelica Jadanandan,
Present.
Councilmember Basil Kremendall,
Present.
Councilmember, I'm missing ones that are not here, Councilmember Kim Wanless,
Present.
Councilmember Ching Sha Zhu,
Yes.
Councilmember Kara Zwirling Muller, Councilmember Ellen Dotson, and Councilmember Katina Rogers.
Okay, thank you. So we would like to turn it over now to Carmine Francesi. Did I say that correctly?
Francesi.
Francesi. How do you say it?
Francesi.
Francesi. From the Division of School Facilities. He's gonna talk to us about sort of, related to our walkthroughs and understanding the building needs and, what we can and should advocate for, and the difference between SCAS and which is the School Construction Authority and the Division of School Facilities and the Reso A funding, and
Yeah.
Carmine's been a great supporter and sort of collaborator in helping us navigate these waters over the years.
Do you wanna put it on the board, so I
Yeah,
go over each
Yeah.
item? Cause I filled out some of it.
Yeah.
Katina sent it to me, but I didn't fill out all of it, cause I think there's stuff added.
Oh, for
Each thing, and I could say what's me, what's school construction,
Yeah,
what's Reso.
Yeah,
she's bringing it up.
Okay.
okay, thank you. Yeah, so if
Yeah.
you could maybe just talk for a few moments before we go over the shared list that we're working on. Just sort of the difference between SCA and DSF and what that looks like and the types of things that we should be asking and looking for and prioritizing.
So, Division of School Facilities, we do repair and maintenance on a daily basis. School Construction Authority builds schools and we maintain them, so they do the capital work. We do the maintenance. Once it's built, they turn it over to us and then we take over. So with the CEC, a lot of requests, how I do it in Brooklyn North. I vet it, because if you ask for a door to be replaced, don't even waste your time. I do that. So don't even put it on there, because they're not even gonna look at it. So we always put my input in it. And like big jobs, like, I know boilers, that will be a CEC request for boilers, fire alarm systems, auditorium upgrades, PA upgrades, library upgrades. Anything upgraded should go through the SCA and the CEC. You submit your forms every year. Is it due now? Is it due
in January?
January? So I can review it with you and go over it, what I could do and what SCA could do. But if, just say a roof is just leaking, I'll repair it and then we will put a referral in to the SCA to replace it, along with their BCAS report. I don't know if anybody ever heard of the BCAS.
We went over it.
Building. Okay, so if they give the school a bad grade, I give it a bad grade, and you put it on a CEC list, and we have 3 stakeholders asking for this repair. And usually it does go through. There's almost us 3 are all in it. So that's why I would like to review it with you, just to go over stuff. Cause if you're like, just say that I saw a few of them, it was, an AC broke wiring or something. I could do that with my electricians to wire the AC, cause it could have been shorted out or something. I see that on the list. But we'll go over what I can do, what I can't do.
That's $35,000 is the threshold.
Threshold, we go to 50.
50?
If it's
Okay.
more than 50,000, I'll be for it. Construction authority. Cause after 50,000, it's considered capital funding, not tax levy dollars, what I use. I use tax levy dollars for my work. and they have a bigger budget than me. So they do the big jobs.
Okay, so it's over, because we had on our document
35, yeah, it's-
Should we say 30, 50?
I would say 50.
Okay, so I'll change that to 50.
Yeah.
1,000.
Cause once it's 51,000, I'll submit it, like if I have a leaky tube in a boiler and I get a proposal, it comes to 55,000, I'm referring it, they gotta give me the money to do it, cause it's over the 50.
Okay,
If it was 32,000, I have to use my operating budget to fix that,
okay,
so.
great. And accessibility, so when it's something that is about ADA.
Yes.
That's a different office, correct?
Yeah, we have space planning, which is downstairs, we have accessibility money, so that will go through, I can give you that person's name, his name's Will Herrera. And he handles all accessibility questions and what's in the pipeline in the next 5-year plan, capital plan.
Okay.
I know right now we're going, District 15, I know 29's getting an elevator installed, 29. Trying to think of the other ones, I got so many. I know definitely 29, cause I was there the other day and they're, it's like a year away finishing up. They were there all summer, knocking down walls, and, I don't know if you kids go to 29, but they're getting, an elevator installed, brand new.
That's great.
It's not like they're rebuilding what's there or modifying what's there, was never there. So, and they got a lot of money to do this in the next 5 years, so I don't know the numbers and what schools, but I could definitely get that for you, Will could just give you what's in the pipeline for the next 5-year plan.
Great.
Any questions? Oh. You want me to stand over there?
I can also just go on my computer and I can also read it out if that's easier, but before we go to that,
Okay.
are there any council members, especially, I mean, I'm the only person who has been through this before, who's in this room other than Antonia, who's here as a, you know, someone, just a resource to kind of help answer questions in addition to Carmine. But do any of you, I know many of you have completed walkthroughs at this point. Many of you have already started adding the information to our shared document. But do you have questions that Carmine can help answer that you're still confused about the process, the types of projects? Yeah.
I do have a question. So I've done one of my walkthroughs and the school, it seems to be not alone, but there are a number of schools in the area that have dealt with kind of delayed construction projects.
Okay.
And they're concerned, they're actually getting ready to move into a new building for the fall, and they just haven't been hearing any information about the status of the project. They're not sure whether they're going to be able to get in with sufficient time to kind of check things out for, you know, for the first day of school.
What school are you referring to?
This
right on this?
MS 428.
MS4, can you give me the building code, because I don't know
You know what, I
the
can
orgs are
find,
very hard for me,
Yeah,
because
no,
there's
I'll
so many
find-
orgs.
I will find that for you.
Yeah, we go by building codes.
My question.
What's the principal?
Principal, Sibi Ip.
Oh, 27. K27,
Okay,
yes.
so I met with her and her leadership team a couple weeks ago, and
That's on Huntington, right?
it is
No, no.
40. Is it
No, you're thinking.
I'm thinking
of-
of-
42nd?
No, he's talking about on Hamilton.
Sunset Park.
Fort Hamilton,
Sunset High School?
No.
No,
South Slope.
that's not the new building we just opened.
Isn't it in an old church?
Yes, it is.
347?
It's one of the newer ones. that
It's one of
just
the newer,
opened, I
yeah, I think they've been there for 2 years.
Yeah.
Was that the
But-
one that Miss Phillips is the? No, not
421.
Miss Phillips?
428, but they're preparing to enter a new building next year.
Next year?
Yeah, they're
September?
kind of in this space temporarily, so I was asking about repairs, and they said, well, you know, we're not gonna be here for that long.
No, we
much
still
better.
maintain it, it doesn't,
KOO.
because we're gonna probably keep the building.
K004.
KO4, thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right. So, yeah, it just, you know,
so the building they're in, they're saying that they're not gonna
Yeah, they're not gonna be there for that much longer. They're gonna be there for the rest of the school year. They're getting ready to move into a new building in the fall.
Okay,
But they haven't really gotten many updates as to the status of the project and, you know, they kind of recounted a story to me of another school in the neighborhood where the leadership had like 24 hours before the first day of school, maybe less than 24 hours before they could get in there and walk around. And it seems like a very short window. It seems unacceptable to me hearing that. I just wanted to know if there are any means for us to kind of push for them to get information, to be able to get in. Is that an SCA thing? Is
yeah,
that
so it's a new building we're building,
a new construction that they're
Yeah.
gonna go into? Yeah,
so it's brand new.
I believe so.
Yeah, so the issue with that is nobody's allowed in the building till we get TCO. I'm not even allowed in there until TCO is
What's TCO?
certificate
Certificate of occupancy.
occupancy, temporary certificate of occupancy, just to get the building open. And a lot of those buildings, from the experience, it's Labor Day weekend. We get TCO. I don't know why, but the history of that is always last minute. But I will look into it to see if that's the case. If we're gonna be last minute like every year. For some
Okay.
reason, they have a hard time getting the TCO and nobody's allowed in the building until we actually receive it.
Got it. That would be
So-
really, really important
Yeah.
and helpful to understand how that process could be.
And that's K
moved
zero.
forward.
It's
Zero,
going
zero,
into the building.
Yeah, 004, is that where they are now? I wish I knew. I will, I'll find out from the principal. But I think that issue, that's an issue which, I just wanted to raise because I'm trying to understand what is holding that up? Why is that an issue time after time? They mentioned that they do have students who have, allergies and things of that sort. So going in less than 24 hours before starting the first day of school and bringing all the students in on that same day, it just doesn't seem very responsible.
All right.
And
And you're saying the building they're in is having issues also?
no, they're not really concerned about the building they're in.
They're in
It's
there,
about
it's
the new
okay.
building, just trying to
It's
get
about
some
the new building.
updates and trying to get in there. More than 24 hours in
Then we're
advance.
definitely opening up this September.
That's the plan. Okay. Yeah. So any thoughts,
Yeah, I'll definitely get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
I'll find out where we're at and I'll talk to the principal.
Yeah.
不用不用管，比如说现在他可以回答任何问题，比如说这个学生他几个存在，我们可以来说。
Yes.
Co-located with Snowbrook.
But it's the new building
Yeah.
that they're building on Fort Hamilton Parkway, right? Fort Hamilton. It's near my monitor.
And we're definitely opening it this September. That's the, okay. Okay,
Chingsha?
I will definitely look into it.
Okay,
I'll get your email address and I'll definitely get back to you.
thank you.
PS。
So we have a question regarding to PS 516 regarding to the student passing the parking lot to another school building. So how you going to resolve the issue? Because that's
Which building is that?
we have the students and the teachers, the parents and teacher, everybody need to across the building. So we have to go through the parking lot. So that would be cause some issue for the people
What
crossing
building
the
is it?
Building number K333 and K557.
Okay, that's on the corner of the one that we just built the building across the street. Right?
这不是我们刚刚
We have the old building and then we just built the brand new building.
School is PS
16.
516.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's is it the principal Jessica? Yes,
Yeah.
Jessica Kent, yeah. So the kids go through I know where we lease has the parking lot. But the new school don't have a parking lot.
No, they're talking about entry.
Here.
They have to walk through the parking lot to enter
Enter the
the
building?
building.
就是要
I don't-
从教堂那一边绕过了
Yeah.
停车场才能进入。
So people get into the building, they have to across the side from the church to get inside into the school building.
The main
They go
entrance.
through the main entrance on Fourth Avenue. I'll talk to the principal about that, but they should be going through the parking lot, because the parking lot's actually closed.
他们
The kids play out there, they don't even,
不可能是
I
经
think
过
they're
那个
going through
那
the
个
wrong way, they're going on the opposite
那
side.
是因为教堂的人
Yeah.
不允许，
It's like
从他们的
181.
教堂那边经过，需要绕过停车
Oh, we're
场
looking
才
at
能
that
过
one.
去那个。
because the church people does not allow us to use their entrance, so they want us to use the parking lot to get inside the building.
I'll talk to the principal, because when I was there a few times, they were coming through the main and then the side block, which is, I don't know the cross streets. The side block, they were going that way, right into the multi-purpose room. When you walk into the building, there's a multi-purpose room, and then you got the main entrance on Fourth Avenue. So they're coming in through the back by the church? I gotta find out, let me look into it, I'll
他
talk
们
to
会
the
跟学
principal.
校讲一下，因为他们之前去的时候呢，
I know they
他
do
都可以
recess out
经过
there,
教堂那边可以进去的。他们并
哦，
他们不是说
and the teachers park there, in the church side.
是我
They might be just walking through, just to cut, instead of walking around, I don't know, I'll look
Main
into it.
entrance should be the main entrance. They should
It's on Fourth Avenue, but they might be cutting through the parking lot, I don't know.
They're not supposed to be.
No,
他们不需要经过那个
Yes.
过去，他们可以
43rd,
教堂那
there's a,
边进去。
there's a side entrance that the
对，
kids
大道。
used to go in that way, and the main entrance,
主要
the
就是
teachers
教
park
堂
in the back,
好像不允许
they
他
might be
们
just walking
学
through, cause
生
it's
从那
open.
里经过，
Could be.
需要绕过
对
停车
老
场。
师会讲跟学校讲一
No, the
下。
main
嗯
entrance should be the main
Yeah.
entrance. Teachers, students, anyone, especially there's supposed to be school safety
Yeah,
officer, sign in.
correct.
Teachers are supposed to use main entrance also.
他们可以用那个主要的入口的，他们是允许学生进去的。
I,
对，我们就关注
We
一下，
can.
因为
it's a lot.
I'll talk to the principal,
对
and
我们
I'll
可
ask
能
that.
跟进一下吧，关注一下小孩子。
他会跟
No, I
讲一下。
One or two, everybody can just give one issue, cause since he's
Yeah.
here,
Yeah,
maybe we do that.
yeah, yeah.
他会
I'll
讲
find out.
一下这个问题。
嗯，
Yeah, I just had a question, that I'm not sure how to navigate, that's come up with two of my schools during walkthroughs.
Yes.
where they had received approval for projects in the past that either like, so one school, MS 51, they had approval to repair their dance studio, and they said that like 2 years ago, someone came, they did a survey, took measurements, and then nothing happened after that, and they were told it was some delay with the portal. And then they're like, I don't know what happened, that that was approved, it came, nothing happened. Similarly, PS 39, there was a similar thing where they had, she said back in like 2018, 2019, they received funding to do some repairs in the cafeteria. Get the new-
39?
PS 39, that I can,
Yeah, that's,
Find it.
the new principal.
the new principal,
Yeah,
yeah.
we actually, I actually repaired the whole lunchroom floor, it's all brand new.
Yeah, so, and
I did
he
that,
told me actually that
Yeah.
you all were very helpful in doing a lot of repairs. of
yes, we
Flooring.
did a lot of work this summer, we did a lot of painting, we put a lot of whiteboards,
Yeah.
we did a lot.
So, and I think there's existing things happening too, like
Yes.
electrical upgrade, but she mentioned. And I think this funding, she said, I think was a legislative grant
Okay.
for.
There's
sound-
always state, which one?
I believe it was state, and this was for, so she wasn't sure the status of that. She said
Okay.
originally it was for soundproofing. She's hoping to use that funding for air conditioning. But it's another kind of issue where they don't know the status, like what happened to that money, how do they figure it out and get that money?
Okay, so if it's a state grant,
Yeah.
minimum 2 years to even get the money, I'm being honest.
Is that what it is?
Okay,
At least minimum 2 years. It's Graham Gordon we would have to email.
Graham
You
Gordon,
can take his email. He's in charge of state grants. It's not a reso, it's from the state. And minimum at least 2 years.
okay,
Once the money's awarded, takes about 2 years. I don't know where it's at, but
yeah,
Graham will answer that question. If the principal emails him directly, or if you email him directly, he will respond where it's at. A lot of times we'll wait for proposals from us. It's all depending where it is.
okay,
But I would email him and he'll give you exactly what's needed to get it to move it forward. And let's just go back to 51 you said. So that's dance room you said, right?
Yeah,
Now, is that a reso or a state?
I believe that was a reso.
Okay.
And they said someone came to, this was 2 years ago, started doing measurements, and then they said there was a delay because of the technology portal. Or something they said, I don't know if it was, I don't know, and then no one ever came back, and they've been reaching out to see like what the status of that.
So I'll check my database, because reso I can see in my database.
Okay.
So there was a delay with our new system. We just revamped the whole system, how we operate.
Okay.
I could give you a quick story. So SCA would give us, it's called an LLW number. I would do the work, right? We would lay it out, but they would never pay us,
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
So now we wait till the actually check is in our pocket and then we cash it. We're not doing that anymore because we lost a lot of money. They'll say, oh yeah, we'll pay you next year, never paid us. So it took it out of our operating budget. So we stopped that. We revamped it, our deputy chancellor revamped everything. So now we wait for SCA to actually give us the money. So it could be delayed because of that, but I will find out.
Okay,
But
appreciate that.
yes. Dance studio and 39 was, you said was the 39
The
again?
state grant.
State grant for ACs?
Yeah.
And if you change the scope, whoever donated, whoever gave the money have to tell us, yes, I wanna repurpose the money for, instead of doing this, we wanna do this.
Okay.
So, it's a state grant.
Mine is similar to Angelica's where, so at PS 130, their lower school, which is building.
Yeah, 130, right?
I think it's just 130.
Yeah.
But
That's
they.
off the highway, right, off the
Yeah,
BQE?
yeah, it's right
Oh,
at.
Prospect, yes.
So they were one of our top 5 recommendations to SCA last year for a
Okay.
bathroom upgrade because they need on their second floor. SCA came to do an assessment and then they never heard back from them. And which. we're
So
not-
bathrooms?
Yeah, so it's a bathroom upgrade because they have hundreds of kids who don't have a bathroom.
So is this a revamp or adding a bathroom?
It's, no, they have a bathroom.
They want, you want to
They
renovate?
want, yeah, so they need a renovation to, I honestly can't remember the exact, I need to go back to last year's ask, I can't remember if it was more stalls or more urinals, or both. But it was, they needed more.
Okay.
In the bathroom, but they never.
So SCA scope is,
SCA scoped it, and then another at VHS, which is K 293.
You have
Okay,
another
Building
situation?
293.
yes.
So
Try to keep
yeah, so
Okay.
they have security
Because
cameras that
This
don't
list
work
is gonna
anymore.
have to give.
And SCA told them they're
You didn't get
tier,
any.
a group 5, so they can't get that for another 2 years. And.
The SCA handles all.
Right, so I have
all
an
the cameras.
email and they're like, sorry, you can't get it, but, it's a security risk.
Yeah.
So they.
Did we escalate it to the SCA for the parents and all? Did you push it?
I mean, it's on the new list for this year that I plan to
Well,
escalate, but I wanted.
I would email them and
Okay,
the borough safety directors.
yeah,
Get
Okay,
people
as a
involved.
parent of VHS.
Yes.
They mean by tier 5.
They're group 5, they've grouped schools
Yeah.
into who.
Priorities on what,
Prioritizing who gets the upgrades
Yes.
first.
by incidents. They go by incidents.
Oh, yeah, but I thought if you were tier 5, that was an emergency.
No, sorry, group 5, I used the wrong word, they were group 5.
Yeah, I don't know. They go by the incidents first.
Oh.
Yes, like if you don't have, if that school didn't have that many, you're going this way, and if this school had more, this school's going ahead of you.
And the incident's considered when it's escalated or.
With the
email is sent.
principal, ORs and all that, yes. If they're not reporting it, then
An incident as in an accident incident?
Anything.
or-
anything safety. Anything
Okay.
safety.
So we could just tell our principals to put it in as a safety.
It's just every day, hey. there's-
But again, they're gonna match their incident reports. Like if a kid just fell on the floor or a kid pushed a kid and they don't enter it, they're not, you know what I'm saying? It's all depending what the incident is.
I'm gonna jump in here.
Sure.
Cause it's the same thing in which they were told that a job was starting and they investigated it and the situation hasn't been rectified.
Which was that?
This is, 280, which
Bishop Ford.
is, in the Bishop Ford building.
Okay,
In the front, they were supposed to do a drainage project
yes,
in the front lawn.
yes,
Okay.
they're in the process of,
And the steps were an
Yes.
issue, they have to.
they gotta
So-
fix all that stuff.
So when?
I don't know, I'll.
It's the safety hazard. Pictures.
I will find, that's not me, but I will, they're our partners. I will reach out to them.
So who do we?
School construction authority.
And, okay.
I'll
that's
reach out
good.
tomorrow to them and ask them where it's at.
And Carmine, I can have your number?
Sure, I'll give you my
I
email.
can send you pizza, no.
I'll give you my email address. And again, I'll be out of here, but I will forward it to my colleague that's coming in.
I shared the document with Carmine, so if you just go into who it's shared with, you can access it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and their pictures there. I don't think-
Yeah, I was there over the summer a couple of times. We, at Bishop Ford, we had a commercial classroom that Mr. Alvarez requested, and I saw that. They said they were fixing it, but I will push them a little bit more.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay. Basil, you wanted to?
Yeah. So I've only done one of my schools, but they have 3 sites. So I'm visiting the other 2 next week, but I'm not sure exactly what site it is, but it's Brooklyn Pre-K, 15K 767. Something. What's
Where's it located? What's that?
There-
Remember
There's
that, Brad?
3 different locations.
Yeah, they have 3
The oldies building. Okay.
Remember that? Is it where you visited?
It's a pre-K center?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have 3 sites, and this.
Is the
building-
principal Cynthia?
I have the last.
Look,
Yes.
yeah, she has a few, yes, I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
So this building had 3 classrooms in it, and since 2016, their heating and cooling has not functioned properly, and I think you all have already been to try to fix it, and so now what happens, like.
Let me look at, cause she always
Because
gets that
they
with me, and
have 3
I haven't got a complaint in a while.
Really? Cause they have 3 systems that are supposed to function together, radiant floor, a boiler, and forced air. But only the boiler is working.
Okay. All right. And what's the school code again?
767.
767. I will follow up tomorrow because, I haven't got an
Well, what
email.
happens if the DOE, like if maintenance can't fix it, then does it go to SCA
Oh,
or?
we have to fix it, put it that way. That's under me, that's maintenance, I can't ask the SC, unless the whole unit has to be replaced, which I doubt it. It might be something minor or, I don't think. Nobody's complaining, cause, nobody's saying a word to us, like, I have a deputy director that manages the schools directly, and we go on a heating call every week, and that school is never brought up, so let me find out. It hasn't really been freezing out, so maybe that's why they complained this year though, since the heat's been on, or last year?
Well, they said that it hasn't functioned since 2016.
Wow.
It's only 9 years.
That's not bad. Heating. I will look into that tomorrow. Yeah.
Ken, any, and then, Xing what's the nut? You have any to report? You did one already, but you're good?
Yeah, I'm good for
Okay.
now. Thank you, Kim.
So she wants to add another one?
We
Kara?
Yeah,
Oh, you didn't go yet? I'm so sorry.
Okay, so I have sort of a different, and we're gonna go over these are not necessarily maybe the most pressing concerns, but it's like a different question. So in one of my schools, CS 38, they had a whole bunch of ACs that were delivered, but they are not compatible with the electrical system of the building. And like what, and they've been told that that's now like their problem to replace them because they're not working, but like. I can't really accept
That's
that.
Mr. The principal's,
Pascal. Yeah, I just like can't really accept that as an answer, that
Yeah,
that's the
so-
school's responsibility to fix.
well, honestly, it is, I'm being honest. but it's admin's responsibility for ACs.
Okay,
To replace them, to fix them, that's all on the
but
principal.
someone delivered them to them.
Yeah, who bought them?
Right, and that's, I don't know the answer.
I had to be the principal,
Okay, okay,
but this is what happens.
okay,
If they have a 110 in the window,
right,
they're sending a 220 automatically. Nobody's telling them, I need a 110, I need a 220, and that's what's happening.
got it.
I got that all
All over
Brooklyn.
the
Yeah,
city.
okay.
Yes, so
And then-
that's what happened, but she had to order them and we didn't tell them exactly what, so now, but let me look into how many we talking.
It seemed like a lot.
A lot?
It seemed like a fair number of air conditioning.
Like what, 5, 6?
Like 7, yeah, it's like a bunch that
Okay,
they were
I
excited
can-
about and now they're not.
All right, so I could have my
And it's
electrician.
installed, like that was also the.
Yes,
thing,
that's what they
They
do.
got all the way to
Yes.
the point of being installed without anybody looking at the plug and being like, this building's super old. Just slightly.
I'll give you
I
a
mean,
quick,
I'm sure I.
story. CS3.
But
The
yeah.
principal purchased the gym, auditorium, and lunch room. No power. There's nothing to plug it into. So she just ordered them thinking, oh, we're gonna get, and now you're talking $300,000 to bring it from the basement up. There's no money for that. So they're just sitting in a window. So it happens. You know what it is? They don't contact us. They just buy, they just say buy it because they're responsible and they don't ask us. What is needed? Is the power there? Sometimes the power's not there, like K3, the power's in the basement. We gotta bring it up. Gotta through walls, asbestos. So they're just sitting in windows right now. We're trying to figure this out, but so it does happen.
Similarly, 146 has all these new lights that are being put in, so they have all these problems with their windows that I think they got power washed at one point and like basically ruined, so you can't.
What school is that?
Is it 146?
146?
Yeah,
Brooklyn New School.
yeah, Brooklyn High School.
How come that don't sound familiar to me?
It's like right down, it's
Henry Street.
Henry Street, like right by where you go.
Henry
to the-
is K29 and 142.
There's no more. Maybe.
Might be the
build-
building number.
The building
Yes,
number?
I need the building. I don't have no idea what 146 is.
You know what other school?
Is it the junior high school?
It's the one, it's the elementary.
It's the one right by the,
There's two schools in that building.
There's a
The
middle school, high
which,
school.
which is, 448.
yeah, it's 142, I think. It's right next to the highway.
It's right next to the highway.
That's 140. I call it 142.
Okay,
That's
sorry,
why.
that's not written on my form at all, so I don't know, but they,
Yeah.
so. The windows were sort of ruined at
Is
some
that where the
point.
chickens are?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
we call it 142.
Okay,
That's,
okay.
that's all I know that school by. Okay.
So the windows were ruined years ago, when,
Okay.
right after they were replaced, they were power washed and they were like, they basically are like sanded over. So that's being worked on. But they've been replacing the light bulbs in some of the rooms, but the light bulbs are like such a high wattage that there's a lot of, they can't use them in many of the classrooms that have special needs students, like people are getting headaches, people are having like actual reactions to the brightness of the light bulbs. So they're basically in the dark because they can't get any light through the windows and then they can't use the lights anymore. And they have been trying to reach out, but they felt maybe that there would been about not being able to turn on the lights as it's getting darker.
Okay, so I got 2 questions. Who's doing the lights? SCA?
No,
Or-
so I don't know. who's
Or
doing
is it the custodian just replacing them as they're?
They have complained about I don't know who they complained to, I can certainly follow up with that. but
Okay.
They've been complaining about, can we get different lights that are not 4,000 watts or what
Yeah,
have you?
absolutely.
But they've been told no, and they just keep coming back to the school with more of these lights. That are all kind of the wrong color and brightness.
So what a lot of schools do, the older lights will put LEDs in. It's a retrofit
Yeah.
bulb. I don't know if that custodian, that's a brand new custodian. there. We just say he's only
Okay.
there about a month,
Okay.
brand new. So I don't know if he's just being proactive and replacing them or, what, but let
Okay.
me look into that tomorrow
Okay, thank you.
with my DDF, light bulbs in classrooms. It's not a lighting upgrade that they're getting from.
No, they're just trying
Do
to
you-
replace like broken light bulbs,
Yes,
but
I got
because
you.
there's no light coming in the windows, it gets
It's-
very, very dark, very early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last one. Okay, I have two schools, where ceiling tiles are falling, in the gyms, some literally
saw that on
next to students. Like, they just fall, and then at PS 58, I don't know the building code.
Wait, what's the first school?
It's,
With the-
does anybody have the building numbers? Or if I-
Yeah, so I don't know building code.
PS 58.
PS 58?
PS 29, they both have ceiling tiles falling from the ceiling in the gym.
Okay.
And then PS 58, they had an accessible entrance put in. It's not the main one, because there are steps going up to the main one, it's actually like towards the back of the school. And the safer access system was placed in that door. The wire, so this is their ADA accessible door. The wiring for the safer access system goes down the bar in the middle. So when people come to vote, they have to take that bar out to make it accessible, or to make it ADA compliant, they have to take that bar out. So it renders the safer access system inoperable because the wires are built into that bar.
Into you mean the middle mullion? It's a mullion that they remove to make the doors wider?
Yes, yeah,
So it's in that,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so then
What school's that?
58.
They should have never
K
did that.
58,
K 58, that's, yeah,
right down the street.
yes. Okay, we'll have to read, that happened in a few of our schools. Because they just installed it and they think, oh, they're never gonna remove it, but we do actually remove it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Safer access,
Yeah,
mullion,
yeah,
so
so.
have to rewire it.
So what I would say is if we can try to complete building walkthroughs in the next couple weeks. It would be wonderful to be able to share the list with Carmine or Carmine's replacement, Anthony, at least a week and a half before our next meeting. Which I'm blanking on the 16th. Because we need to vote, really, we need to vote at the meeting on the 16th for our top 5 priority, because our sending this list out one more time to all of the principals to look it over, just to make sure that there's nothing that we missed, or if we misrepresented something by accident, we want them to take a look, and then we can send this to Anthony at this point. Let's send it to Anthony that second week of December, so that Anthony can let us know what is SCA, what is ResOA, what is BSF, and then that will help us figure out our priorities at the December meeting.
And also, when you invite us to the meeting, which would be helpful, email us this list prior, so I can have better. I don't like saying, let me look into it, I'd rather have the answer and say, this is what's happened. You know, so that I could do like, I could ask what happened with the ceiling tiles, or at least I'll have answers.
And I shared the document with you,
Okay.
so you have access to it now.
Okay.
And it's a living document, so people will
Oh,
be.
I got it. Yeah, that would be helpful. But anything, I didn't hear anything about cleanliness or anything like that. The buildings are clean?
Yeah.
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 Shiny floors.
Shiny
Yeah.
floors? All right, that's a good,
Antonia, is there anything else that you can think of that we?
sorry I didn't have better answers, because I didn't know what, you know, I didn't know like the cameras or Bishop Ford, I would have called the SCA, I would have had an answer, yeah, they're gonna finish by December 3rd. You know, but I will email, if you wanna do an email, chain.
Yeah.
And then I can answer with
Okay.
everybody, you wanna email with everybody?
Sure. Yeah.
And then I'll just reply to everybody and say, looked into this, looked into that. This is the answer for this, this is the answer for that, so you all have it. And I'll look up that entrance. Tomorrow I'm gonna call and see what that story is with the entrance to the parking lot. Then I'm gonna find out about that tomorrow.
We have some other questions.
Okay, yeah, sure.
No, we.
Oh,
Let her ask one more.
Okay.
I mean, we have until 10.
yeah, I got some,
Yeah.
Okay.
I got some.
We have time to cover.
I'm here.
everything else, so.
Okay, so we have a question regarding come from PSA 96 regarding to the entrance door. The entrance door is a glass door, but the door system is not always working. So we have to let somebody to open the door for us. So and also
The
some
bell isn't working?
right, the bell is not working.
And what school's that?
PSA 96.
That's
That's between 8th Avenue and
that's
40.
Rodriguez is the principal? That's the little school, the English school, or?
It is located at 4513
Yeah, I
8th
think
Avenue.
it's- that's the brand new building,
是新的学校吗？
right? It's brand new, they opened last year.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
this one
rude.
brand new.
And the door don't open?
The door is not always working, so they have to open it manually. They have to.
Is that because the safer access is locked?
It's not working, the bell is not.
The bell's not working or the safer access?
早上过去开，而且是玻璃门那种，是以前比较旧的门铃。
So the doorbell system is kind of old, so they require the security guard to open the door. So it's not working. You cannot just press the door to open. So it always requires somebody to open the door from inside out.
Do you have the security system where they have to ring the doorbell and then the safety officer presses the bell?
要不要你按了门铃，然后
Yeah, because it's a brand new it's a brand new main
按了
entrance.
门铃之后，如果别人过来比较慢的话，他就
Right,
自
it
动
was
锁
brand
上
new main
来。
entrance, so.
对，
Yeah,
理解，对，
Okay.
他就是
你跟他讲。
我也没有。
So once you ring the bell, if somebody
they gotta buzz you in from the inside,
right,
and she
But if
can't
no-
buzz you in?
so if nobody come, so the door will be locked again.
Yes, that's the safer access.
So what she wrote is the doorbell system frequently malfunctions, so that it's not able to open.
This is not safer access. This is the door to the building, not safer access. That's a regular doorbell. So you might be pressing this, but it's the safer access that you have to ring.
但是呢，你按了一个那
Yeah,
个按钮之后呢，
that's a
它
regular
就
doorbell.
是让其他人帮你来
That's not
开门
safer
的，
access.
并
Safer
不
access
是
has
说
the camera.
Yeah.
They might be pressing the
进
wrong.
去
The wrong.
Yeah,
This is the old one.
yes, that's the old one.
而且它是一个玻璃门。
In the main entrance, you see like a camera?
但是这个不是进去大门那一个，是里面
是按门铃，按门铃，对，然后要人过来开，你懂吗？
896, that's the one
而
that.
且现在的学校都是有铁门的。
So once you ring this bell, so you have to you have to somebody to open this door.
Yeah, let me see that picture. That might be the old one. Yeah, these are brand new, yeah. Oh, maybe, yeah. All right, I'll look into this tomorrow, but that's not the safer access bell. There should be another bell. So school safety could push you in.
Okay. 这个不是用来开门那一个就是他们会用来开门。Another issue is that most of the school has the iron door, but this school only has a glass door.
The glass door?
Yeah, most of the schools has the iron door.
Yeah, that's a new construction. That's the way they built it, like, yeah, like a storefront.
它现在新的大楼都是用这种门的。
Yeah. They built it like a storefront. It looks like a storefront.
I do, but I don't know.
It has all glass. The door's glass and the side has glass, right? Like the main entrance. When you walk in, there's all glass, right? It has the rug on the bottom when you first walk in.
你是不是进去的时候呢？他们会有一个在底下有一个锁的，但是他们
But I'll look into this anyway. Just make sure it's
玻璃
working,
门。
safe for access.
对，校长给我反映的是这样子，他会自动锁上，需要工作人员过来开。
So the school principal just just complained about the door. So
Okay.
the it will automatically lock the door if nobody open the door quick enough.
Okay, I'll definitely, Ruth would have definitely emailed me if some, believe me. So I'll call tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll look into it tomorrow, I promise.
So we have some other questions. Can we just send you an email
Yeah,
about all the questions?
Yeah, you can send an email, absolutely.
What's the
I'll give you
email?
the email.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the email.
No, that's it.
Yeah, that's.
Yep, I
Oh,
think that's it.
that's it?
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
more, but I
Yeah.
think, you know,
In there.
we're all in
I'll
there.
give you my email. Yeah, it's C,
Yeah.
Francisi.
I just sent an email connecting all of us.
Oh, all of them. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll reply.
Yep.
To all these answers, I'll reply to that email.
Okay.
Okay.
And would you mind adding Anthony to the
Yes.
reply as well?
Yep. Yep. I'll add him. They're announcing it tomorrow, so he's gonna start, getting looped into all the emails, but I would definitely, I'll definitely, find out about your Bishop Ford entrance. I seen it. I thought it was done by now. But we're gonna push the SCA a little, unfortunately.
Thank you for everything.
Yes, yes. And, I will reply, by tomorrow, close of business, you'll have these answers.
Thank you so
All right?
much.
And if there's anything else you have to add, just reply to that email. We'll keep that email chain going.
All right.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't even see in the chat
What's
that,
that? Oh,
no, we're gonna, no,
Oh.
it's just, the speaker was muted. I don't know. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
They can hear now, okay. So thank you all. Just sort of quick chance to touch base with everything. Do people feel it would be useful to talk more about building needs? Or should we all just look at the document on our own and then come to the next meeting ready to highlight what SCA priorities are? Does that seem like the most logical step?
One question, so
Yeah.
in my visit, a bunch of things came up that were not necessarily construction needs.
Yeah.
And I did put them on that tab.
The non-construction requests, yes.
When are, like,
So
so how, should I like just be trying to?
add them, so,
Add them
cause I
and
added stuff too,
okay.
what I think we should do with that. This is my thoughts, is that we have a firm deadline for the SCA. And so it probably makes sense to prioritize our discussion around SCA. And then for the non-SCA or building facilities related stuff, maybe if we can all look at that tab and see which working group it might be connected to. And then working, cause I know a couple of them I added would be connected to like the working group that I said I would be a part of. So I think, you know, if everybody can try by the end of the week to just look over the non-construction requests. So there's tabs at the bottom if people didn't see it. So there's all requests, non-construction requests. We've got the 2024-2025 requests for reference. We've got then tabs that will become the DSF requests. We've got the vote that we have to do. We have the Office of Accessibility, and then we have the ResOA. So right now, really the main tabs to do are the all requests and the the non-construction requests. But the non-construction requests feel like they're probably most connected to the working groups in terms of actions. And so maybe we can build some time in the December meeting to briefly discuss it and then maybe dedicate more time in January once we've already voted on the SCA. Does that seem like a logical plan to everybody?
I think so, I mean, I guess my only thought is like some maybe are working groups, but some maybe it's for us to just like report to Superintendent Alvarez
Yeah.
and, you know.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
I would say if
Yeah.
anybody feels like there's something urgent, just write to the superintendent.
Yeah.
What's the direction for crossing guards? Where do I go?
So it's NYPD, and that may be what we can do at the next meeting, because I had crossing guard
That was the
stuff
school's
too.
number one concern.
Right.
They like didn't care if the whole building fell that way.
Yeah, so we were talking about crossing guard stuff too,
Yeah.
and maybe what we can do at the next meeting is compile a list of all of the schools that are having crossing guard issues, because it's NYPD.
Okay.
But Alvarez, Raphael and Nicole can talk to the precincts.
Okay.
And they've done that in the past to really fight and advocate for the crossing guard needs.
And I see like another general theme seems to be staffing issues
Yeah.
too, like seeing paras, OT.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
that's a separate list, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe, yeah, so let's, once people finish their walkthroughs in the next 2 weeks, maybe we can all just try to look on our own at this and try to generate themes, and then maybe we can just craft an email highlighting those themes to send to Raphael and Nicole and Angela, and see where they believe we should go.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of you in your walkthroughs, the principals often have already tried to advocate for these things, and so I see our role as just another person fighting for them. And so I think the more we can just keep inundating them of like, this is a need, please get this done, this is a need, then it's more likely that maybe they'll listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, advice from the last.
I'm really impressed with I like how this process has evolved under the new leadership. I feel like you guys have like learned from the past process and taken it in another direction, and great job.
Okay.
Just on, in addition to that comment, yeah, this has been really productive and helpful, and hopefully it wasn't a detour from the initial question that Kim asked, which was, let's talk to Carmine about the distinction between the different.
Yeah.
Right? The different types of requests, right?
Yeah.
And where that funding comes from.
Yeah.
But this was nonetheless very helpful. So just wanted to echo that.
Yeah.
My other thing, don't forget to submit to the city council and to, the borough president.
For the Reso Way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those, we went over this at a previous meeting, but basically you weren't there for that, so are you familiar with Reso A funding? Do you know what that is? So there's funding through the School Construction Authority, those are the huge projects that are 50,000 plus. There's the maintenance projects and requests, and that's what goes through school facilities that Carmine's a part of, and those are the smaller projects under 50,000. And then there are projects where the SCA or DSF are like, we can't cover that. And so schools can submit applications to their council member, their assembly member, the borough president office, and there's this resolution, it's called Reso A, but it's this resolution that essentially creates these line items that allow for them to fund certain amounts of projects in the district. And so for a lot of these things that Carmine says, I'm sorry, we can't do anything right now, we will then encourage the schools to submit for the Reso A funding, which happens right after the SCA deadline. And so for everything that we don't prioritize, we'll send a list to our liaison schools and just say, hey, like, you really should submit for Reso A funding. Ken and I met with the borough president's office last month, and they said, in addition to the general Reso A request, so like, I know PS 230 where my kids are, they submitted like 3-4 years in a row for an auditorium upgrade, and they finally got it. I know that 130 where your kids are, they were able to finally get a rooftop upgrade that they're gonna do, like $1.3 million through the borough president's office. So that's something we wanna have them kind of advocate for, but one thing for us to pay attention to, which I think I mentioned in the last meeting, is Reynoso's office really wants to fund some thematic project across the district. And so if we're noticing that a lot of our schools in the walkthrough want similar types of things that don't fall under SCA or DSF, like they did hydroponics in District 13, that's something that we could come to them with a proposal of like, hey, can you try to fund this across the district, across District 15? So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind.
The school gardens, and that, is that?
So school gardens could be a good Reso A kind of thing, yeah.
So we do have two major items on the agenda.
Yep.
Which is the school visits and the town hall.
For the school visits, we just talked
I
about.
mean, sorry,
The town hall.
town hall and
Yeah.
legislative breakfast.
Yeah, so, so for the town hall, and we're actually right on schedule, because we have a half hour left.
Why did I think on the agenda it says till 9:30?
Oh, till 9:30, got it. We have we have it till 10. That's why I wasn't worried about time. Sorry, we asked, I talked to Katrina about this.
My whole life for that.
Yeah,
What did it say? Tell me.
yeah, no, cause I think we talked about this, that we were gonna try to get permits until 10 PM in every combined meeting. So we need to be out of the building by 10, but we have longer to kind of wrap this up. So for the town hall, draft questions, I think we should take maybe just a couple minutes to go over them. Anthony had to leave.
Okay,
And Antonio's gonna leave. But so Anthony, you know how we have the monthly check-in meeting with Anthony? It's this Friday at 11 AM. Chingsha, there will be a Mandarin interpreter there if you are able to make it. Nobody is required to attend these meetings, okay? I just wanna make that clear. But I talked to Anthony before the meeting and we decided that it made the most sense they have to do a run through of the town hall, and he thought that doing it at 11 AM on Friday during our monthly check-in made sense. So if anybody can make it at 11 AM, please do. If you can't, don't worry about it. No, it's on Zoom. It's our monthly check-in that Anthony has sent out an email invite about. If you don't have that on your calendar, let me know and I will share it with you. But it's just a general base check-in that we have monthly on a Friday at 11 AM.
Run through.
So it's not, so there was already a walkthrough where they went over what all the needs are. This is gonna be like a run of show. So over Zoom, it's over Zoom. So he has the draft schedule of what needs to happen in terms of when you arrive, every element of the day, who's doing what. And so that,
Record that for those.
yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, sorry, will somebody just message me to do that?
I'll send it to Anthony.
You'll send it to Anthony, you'll tell him to record it? Okay. And Shanice, do you plan on being on that meeting?
Yeah, he's actually. Who wants to?
Okay.
I was like going over there.
Sorry.
Going.
Yeah, so Shanice, if you can have him record that, that would be great. And so, yeah, so Anthony will, during that run through, go over the roles of who's doing what. I just, full disclosure, I found out that I have to bring my kids to the start of that meeting and I don't know how I'm gonna navigate that. So I may not start on stage if you're okay with that. But we'll go through sort of who's doing what. We are all on stage, so it is a performance. Okay, so they set up, it's very formal. They set up a stage with a tablecloth. It looks fancy. We all have our own chairs with it. It's December first. Keys tomorrow. Yeah, so December first, we're on the stage of the Brooklyn High School of the Arts in the auditorium. The chancellor will sit in the middle. Next to the chancellor will be the superintendent. And then most likely next to one of them will be Katina, and so on. We are all sitting up there, and then what we'll need to do is kind of break up who is asking what questions. I think we all already sort of took on the questions we wanted, so we'll just need to figure out the sequencing and order of who is asking what questions when. And Anthony will help us with that on Friday in terms of the run through. And I know, Angelica, you went through already and kind of looked at the questions, right?
Yeah, and I filled in, some topics were blank, so where there were blanks, I just.
Okay. Yeah.
One of them, I have been working with, our parents of gender expansive kids group to come up with a gender equity question.
Right.
So I'm not sure. I see the question here and I feel like we'll get a very ER response to it. Am I able to change that? I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yes, what I would say is try to make look at your question. Do we want to talk through every question right now? Is that, would that be useful?
We probably should.
Okay,
Or we could,
Are we gonna ask every question is the question?
that's what we'll confirm with Anthony. 2 years ago when we did this, we did have fewer questions, but Anthony said having this many questions was fine. It depends on the length of the chancellor's responses. And then that will also impact the number of questions we can ask from the community. But we are also, Katina just sent out the form that can create it to the community. We set a deadline for next Friday. And so I think we will have a better sense if people actually fill it out of what the priorities are. And my guess is that our questions will likely align. They may not be perfect, but they will align with many of the questions from the community. And maybe we have to tweak some of the questions based on what the community is asking for. So that's just something we need to weigh. Like, obviously, the more questions we have, because she's only there for an hour. And I have heard that she will stay a little bit longer if needed, but we can't hold her to that. So I think we need to be thoughtful about the number of questions and anticipating how long she might take to answer them.
So should we try to prioritize?
Maybe. Maybe.
Okay, I'm pulling up the script, the agenda, and then there's a script. Did you guys see that email?
Yeah.
In our folders also.
Yeah. So Anthony shared that, and that's what we'll go through. That's what he wants to go through on Friday with us.
So that's what you're gonna go through,
Yeah.
okay.
He was told that we could not go through that during the meeting today,
Okay.
that it had to be done separately.
Okay.
So that's why he wanted to do it on Friday instead of today.
And
So we do need to go over the questions,
Yeah,
prioritize at least.
sure.
And are we assigning questions to members? Is that
Yeah, I think we can do that. Some people have their names next to some already and some don't. Should we? Do you want me to just read them one at a time? And I'll just go through and then people can comment, feedback, and then somebody can say, I wanna take it.
Okay.
And then we can talk about. how
I
to
mean, I think
prioritize
people
them.
should just read the question there.
Or read their own. It's just some don't have names next to them, so that.
Okay,
Kim, you wanna read the first one?
How is New York City Public Schools ensuring that bus companies with a history of undeserving undeserving?
I don't think that's what it meant.
underserved.
History of
history of underserving.
underserving.
That's right.
A lot of hype in that, right?
I didn't have the ENG.
Oh, under.
I didn't have the ENG. Families and failing to adapt their system to meet parents' needs will. demonstrate measurable improvement as part of the upcoming contract. No. Well, this is why we needed to read it over. Yeah. How ensuring, so the question is, how is NYC Public Schools ensuring that these bus companies what did I say? Ensuring that bus companies demonstrate measurable improvements. Okay, so it's a comma there. Is it clearer now?
So, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at time right now. I feel like for us to really dive into them and kind of edit them, we won't get out of here on time. Would people be okay with everyone trying to commit to looking at these questions before the Friday meeting, even if you can't make it? So in the next day and a half, look over the questions. Does everybody know how to do suggested edits? In Google Docs? So doing suggested edits for any revisions to questions. And then would it make sense to create kind of a ranking document in terms of priority, and people can kind of put what they think are priorities of the questions? And do some kind of Google form. Does anybody want to volunteer to create a ranking Google form?
Can you say that again, Jonathan? So rank the priorities?
So, yeah, so what I was thinking is, so step one, everybody read through the questions and make any edits that you think are important in suggested edits or adding comments. Step two is after you've done that, have somebody create a Google form, which I can do if nobody else wants to do it, but a Google form where you rank your priority from 1 to, what do we have, 12? In terms of what you think is most important to ask the chancellor. And then we can look at how everybody's rankings to try to, we can even ask AI to do this for us, to look at all the rankings and then create the group's priorities from there. Does that seem like a plan?
I can try to make that Google Doc. I don't know if I know how to do that exactly, but I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any
If
other
anyone
Google
really
form
knows,
uses?
they know how
I
to
mean,
do
I
it.
could do it.
You can do it?
I
Okay.
did one.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I could also do it. I just don't know if I have
I just
the
don't
time
have
of the
the
next day.
ranking.
Yeah.
When do we want that?
I would say if we could get that shared with everybody by tomorrow night. If I know it's a quick turnaround and I don't know if we need to do it by Friday, but I think to have the document ready might be helpful.
So to have, the question that I'm working on, what's the deadline to fix?
I would, if you can do it by tomorrow night.
Yeah, I can do that.
And if we're suggested edits, like, this might be a whole different spin on a question, that's okay to put in.
I think so. I think any suggested edits by Friday before the meeting. And then maybe what we could do is we could try to talk about these a little bit more on that check-in with Anthony and then whoever's there. And then people can add extra comments for those who aren't there to the document. And then maybe people can try to take a look before the holiday before the break next week. And we can try to maybe do our initial rankings by next Wednesday as a group, because then we'll maybe get some community feedback by the end of the week that we can look at the next. I don't know, because
That's a lot of stuff.
that's a lot. So let's just say, don't worry about the community stuff.
Okay.
We'll look
so
at that.
I
But
would
I
say
think,
take out the charter school question, cause it's just more, it's like a fluff, it's not.
yeah, I wouldn't worry about any of that now, because I think,
Okay.
I mean, I know they're on like Elton, I think that's at the top of his priority list.
Oh, the charter school?
So,
Okay.
but I would say look at revisions by Friday. At the Friday meeting, we will add to that document. And then Ken will create this form that by next Wednesday, we will all fill out this Google form and input our priority ranking. And then over the holiday, Katina or I will just do a quick analysis of people's rankings that we will share out in terms of what the consensus is in terms of priorities. And then we will finalize that because the town hall is the Monday after we get back. So we'll finalize, yeah, we will finalize that over the break. And come with a very clear set of questions. And if that needs to shift based on what Anthony tells us on Friday, we'll just communicate that with everybody. Because he may be like, no, you have to actually do this sooner, or you have to do, so we'll. Okay, I saw the security checking in on us, so, two quick things, legislative breakfast, Katina sent the email about who wants to help organize, coordinate, spearhead that. So if you have not responded that you want to help with that, let Katina know. We'll work offline on that, but we do need to start working on the legislative breakfast because it's now coming up in 2 months. And it's a big undertaking because we're coordinating with so many different people. But we don't have time to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken?
I'll touch base with you on that.
Okay.
Happy to help with that.
Awesome. And then do we have a finance report, Angelica?
No, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, I move to adjourn the business thing.
Second.
Okay, we did it. Thank you all for sticking with us. We appreciate you.